Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Saturday. My name's Dylan Blight. Joining me on the couch this week, Ciaran Marchant.
Don't vape, people. Vape's bad, okay?
It's really annoying because I use vaping to quit smoking, and now they're like, you can't do that either. I'm like, well, kind of saved my ass. Anyway, Ashley Hobby's also here.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here and when we're preparing for a post-Muppets world. You know, they're going to be taken over. This is just the seeds of them, and they're taking over the video game space.
What is this,
the
80s?
VR technology.
Muppets aren't taking over. By the way, Ciaran enjoyed this drink. We both got a... CC. Where's your drink, Ash?
Where's your drink?
We got CC and dries. He's got a fucking water.
I got some water, it's fine. You went for the no sugar version, I see there, Dylan.
Yeah, CC and dry. Are you CC and cola?
No, I'm CC and dry, but I thought I saw on the picture you put on Twitter that they were like the no sugar version.
No. I get.
Just the normal stuff. Okay.
No, it is zero sugar.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I swear I saw the zero sugar label.
Zero sugar, dry. Zero sugar.
I did not. No. Normal stuff.
Yeah. See, it's one of those things where everyone complains, oh, it tastes horrible, but if you like, you know, you have a couple, you get used to them, and then you're like, it's good. And it's like
me with normal Coke. I can't drink normal Coke now.
Yeah, I actually prefer the taste of zero.
Yeah, it tastes better.
And I drink all my energy drinks. I mostly drink Monster Energy Drink Zero because I'm like, well, if I'm going to drink this horrible shit, I might as well get rid of the sugar out of it. Anyway, welcome to the Games Podcast. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about all things the Game Awards, including the show's winners, what big reveals there was, trailers dropped, etc., etc., etc. And then eventually someone is going to be crowned loser and get told that they're going to be playing Bloodborne. No,
Battleborn.
Overwatch.
What have we need to do? All right, so let's get into it. We'll start with the Game Awards winners of each category. So we can run down these. Stop if there's any like shocking ones, I guess, that we can talk about a bit before, and then we'll jump into the trailers and reveals after this. So best VR AR game went to Beat Saber, unsurprisingly. Best strategy game went to Fire Emblem Three Houses, which since I didn't pick that, I was actually surprised because, and to be real, I did see some other people on Twitter also who were as surprised as me, who were like, that game's a great weeb game, but it's not the best strategy game. And there is a difference between the two categories.
Isn't it though?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the best strategy game, but I think maybe it was the best publicized strategy game of this year.
Oh, probably. I mean, yeah. So but I'm just like...
it wasn't the best strategy game, but it was the best strategy game.
Wow.
Yeah. Ashley breaks it down.
Yeah. Best sports racing game. I think this one was surprising. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled won that.
Oh, yeah.
That was weird. Honestly, very weird.
I was like, yep, sweet. Good job. Something different. Something that isn't just like a...
Well, they could have gave it the Dirt Rally, and that would have been different. Anything other than like...
Dirt Rally would have been really weird.
Not weirder than a remake of a PS1 game. I don't know how many people... I mean, I'm happy. I like Crash, obviously, but it was weird. Best score on music. I don't think this one was a surprise. Death Stranding won that one. Best role-playing game went to Disco Elysium, which was... I mean, we'll get to this in a second, but Disco Elysium won... It was the only game to win every single category that it was nominated for.
Yeah.
So everything it was up for, it won. So, I mean, as much as and we'll get to what won Game of the Year in a second, obviously, but I honestly feel like Disco Elysium and the team at Zayum were the Game Awards' biggest winner walkaway.
Definitely. The big success story, yeah.
The big success story. Because I still feel like there's a lot of people, and I mean, I'm kind of speaking out my ass a little bit because I brought the game the week it released and I still haven't got around to playing it. But I mean, at least I brought it the week it released, but there's probably still a lot of people that haven't actually heard this game, which a lot of people are like, Game of the Year material. But I feel like a lot of people are going to be walking away from Game Awards like, best role-playing game, best story, and all these things. And it's like, better try out Disco Elysium.
I'll tell you what, the number of people who are going to be streaming on Twitch tomorrow is going to be crazy.
Well, yeah, probably.
Maybe even right now, if we loaded up the Twitch page. I'm not going to do that, but maybe.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Best performance went to Mads Mikkelsen in Death Stranding. I thought that was a given to me, but I don't know if that one was up for debate. Best ongoing game went to Fortnite. I actually saw that there was a lot of outrage online about that for some reason.
Well, how?
I don't know.
understand how there was outrage. Like, they've done such a good job of like, the weird one for me was before the vote, they did the what does Twitch chat think, and Twitch chat voted like 27% said Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
They're hardcore Final
there's
Fantasy
a
14
hardcore
people.
Final Fantasy group. Yeah,
I was like, it's okay, fine, sure, what? Okay, fuck.
yeah, I know. I mean,
Past the kids' bedtime, obviously in America.
I don't like Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite, whatever. I don't play it. It's not like I dislike it, but still, from afar, it's hard to argue that they don't constantly put out new shit for that fucking game. Best narrative.
I mean, if your game makes small children cry this year, you deserve a Game Award.
I mean,
And Fortnite made lots of children cry and man babies.
I mean,
You know,
so
when
did
it went
Star
offline
Wars.
for like
That's true. That's
week.
true.
So did Endgame. So
So that it deserves an Oscar as well. Yeah.
yeah.
It deserves an Oscar.
Best narrative, Disco Elysium. So Elysium,
Yeah.
whatever. Multiplayer game, Apex Legends.
Yeah, fair enough. I think out of the options for multiplayer game, I think it was like the obvious winner there.
Yeah, I think so too. Mobile game, I thought this one was bullshit. If I had to pick one winner, I was like, come on.
This was so weird.
Yeah.
Where it was like Call of Duty Mobile.
Yeah, Call of Duty Mobile.
Is this a case of out of the 80 judges, they have a lot of them aren't mobile gamers, so they have
Possibly.
they vote. The only one they've seen or noticed is Call of Duty Mobile, which I have barely heard anybody talking about.
It's fine.
You guys haven't played it.
It's a pretty decent Call of Duty game on your phone, but I'm still just like, I honestly would have picked any of the other 4 games above this. I would have put it as my least likely to win if we was ordering these. And then when it won, this was the only one when it won. I was like, wait, demand a recount. Like that seems weird. Yeah, I would have been happy with anything else. Call of Duty Mobile, bit weird, but whatever. Best independent game went to Disco Elysium again. As I said, picking up everyone they got. Games for Impact went to Gris, which I thought was surprising, honestly. I didn't think it was going to win. I haven't played it, but from everything I've read, it's very like, what would the word be? Like vague with its storytelling. You know what I mean? Like
symbolistic, or
yeah, like it's that sort of thing.
It leaves a lot of room for interpretation.
Yeah, and I feel like every other game here is opposite of that. Like Concrete Genie is pretty upfront. Kind Words is very upfront, obviously. Life is Strange is very upfront with what it's about. Seal of Solitude is also pretty upfront with what it's about. So I think Gris is the only one there I haven't played. Or Grease, whatever. But I've heard it's a lot more subtle with its storytelling, I guess. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I picked up for $10 on Steam. So that was my one purchase from the Game Award sales that are happening now and stuff. It was like that game's like $10 or whatever. So I was like, sure, I'll buy it. I'll play it in 3 weeks' time when we're on holidays or whatever. Game direction went to Death Stranding. Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of people online being like, what does game direction even mean? I'm like, that's a good question.
Have you seen Mr.
But I'm pretty sure Hideo
Kojima?
Kojima did it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he did it.
Like, especially, it seemed to be the gimme of everything for Death Stranding, because direction, and you look at the rest of the list and you're like, yeah, none of these guys have the credentialing of Hideo Kojima, so it just doesn't seem...
To me, I view direction the same as kind of as a movie thing. Is like, it's the person who's like got the vision for the game and leads it in a certain... They direct the story, right? They direct the vision for the game. And Death Stranding is impossibly a game with a vision, whether or not you think that's good or not, but it does have one.
Also, can I say, Hideo talking in speeches, after his quotes from the build-up of Death Stranding, where he's like, it's about ropes and sticks and whatever, this time he kept going on about a small boat. And there was a lot of people fitting on that small boat. I'm like, not that small, Hideo. Not that small at all. Yeah.
Well, it's been saying for...
No, it actually was a small boat. That's where the studio was.
Yeah.
Small houseboat in Tokyo.
Ah, it was a small boat.
I'll tell you what, that interpreter did a pretty good job, because Hideo went on for a while before he let him get a word in.
He's, I think
he took a break.
They're well tuned together. That guy, his interpreter's with him in older interviews and stuff now, so I think he'd be very well tuned.
I think there was a bit at the end where he was like, fuck, what did he just say after this? Give me a second. I got it. Good. Let's keep going. Like,
especially when it was like naming people as well. He's like, crap.
Yeah, he was like,
if you ever watch anything with like new interpreters or something like that, they often have like pens and paper, and they kind of just jot down keywords as they're listening to the person, and then they'll redo it and be like, like boat, plane, like mentioning, like, so it jots their memory to what to say. But this
every third word is boat.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
it wasn't this speech.
Boat.
Fresh
clues.
What?
Clues to his next game. It's about a small boat.
No, it's the DLC for Death Stranding. Is Death Stranding at sea, connecting the seas.
He's doing an adaptation of Bodie McBodie's face.
I mean, this is a whole separate topic, so we don't need to go on it. But I am honestly quite interested to see how fast he'll dive straight back into another game. Like, if he dives straight back into something new straight away, that dude has just been sitting on a million ideas for quite so many years at this point over at Konami that I wouldn't be surprised. So
especially it's something that's so a storyline that's so artistically out there that who would have thought about babies in capsules and these monsters that react to them and crossing between the
Paul
two?
Radcliffe,
like, who,
not me.
Like who on this mind comes up with this shit? There's more of it. It's like far out.
First indie game presented by Subway went to Zayam for Disco Elysium. They got up there and shouted out socialism. Then best fighting game went to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I didn't predict that, but once again, winning it. I feel like I was predicting what I thought it might go a little bit different, but it went the usual route. Best family game or best Nintendo game went to Luigi's Mansion 3. Best esports team went to G2 Esports. Best esports player went to Booger. Best esports host went to Shocks. Best esports game of the year went to League of Legends. Esport event went to League of Legends Championship 2019. Best esports coach.
Isn't that a surprising?
I mean, maybe to us because we all picked completely separate different things, but
no, but you specifically said the final was shit. So,
like, the public perspective of that final was really negative. So
it was shit. It was shit to me because this the one time I can talk to you as like someone who actually the one like a sport term is that like it was shit to watch because it was so one-sided. It just wasn't very entertaining to watch. Is my problem. It
was a blowout,
and just it seemed. I always forget, and I think for next time we do predictions on Game Awards, especially for esports, I just need to remember the sheer amount of support there is for League of Legends. Like, just the sheer size of League. Even though we think Fortnite is this massive behemoth, League still dwarfs it. And I think I forget about that.
I mean, they only announced 20 games on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Weren't you...
What was that, Ash?
You're putting forward your big esports prowess, saying you wanted to go last when
I know, and I got fucked. I went so bad during esports, and I was like, I can't call it. I'm just...
How many esports category ones did you get right?
I don't think I got any right, probably. I think I
do you want to know who got the most right?
Ashley, probably again?
No, it was Dylan.
Dylan?
I got the most, yeah. But Ash got more than you.
Fair enough.
I got one.
Best esports coach went to Danny Zonic Sorensen. Content creator of the year went to Shroud. Best community support went to Destiny 2. And this is one I got right, and I wasn't surprised because, as I said when I predicted it, I feel like they've done a really good job, like with the whole going out on their own this year and everything like that. Yeah. Best audio design went to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I don't think that was surprising if you've played it. Art direction went to Control. I was happy to see that. That was one of the ones I was like 50-50 on, but I was good to see it come through at the end. Best action adventure game went to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and we'll come back to that. Best action game went to Devil May Cry 5. And the game of the year went to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which, before we dive into reactions to that winning, I found it so funny. I'm literally sitting there and I tweet out like, what the fuck? Because they're like game of the year. They're literally about to announce game of the year. I'm like, what the fuck? Where is the winner of best action adventure game? Like, because as I'm watching the show, I'm updating like this so I can post on the website later. I'm like, we fucking skipped an award. And then they announced Game of the Year, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and then the voiceover's like, they've also won Best Action Adventure Game. I'm like, oh, okay, that was why. That was why we
they
had
did the
talked
same
about
thing
it
with they did the same thing with RPG.
Yeah.
Because Disco got that announced at the
Indie
same time.
thing, and then they're like, and they've also won Best RPG, and I'm like, oh, okay. Let's just get the awards overlap. Yeah. So how do we? Let's talk about that. So Game of the Year, Ash. How do you feel about Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice winning?
Apparently, it's a good game. Can't fault it.
I can. I did.
It wasn't my pick. It wasn't.
It
wasn't a game that I've seen brought in other lists so far. Not very much. So I've seen a couple of people online saying that's their game of the year, but it's such a. I feel like it's a very niche game. So I'm like, yeah. It's compared to the past couple of years where it's been God of War, Link's Awakening, Breath of the Wild 2. Those kind of massive games. For a game that like Sekiro to win is surprising.
Yeah.
Very surprising.
Okay.
It's just very weird. Like, for me, I don't think especially in our bubble or in anybody I've looked at, like looking forward for predictions, Sekiro was kind of one of the games that was just barely mentioned in that category list where people were like, it was a solid game earlier in the year, but obviously there was something about it, and this is without me playing it, there was something about it that stuck with people and made it their game of the year compared to gaming experiences that came sooner. Like, there's almost that worry sometimes that people have that, big titles like Death Stranding have a better effect, or that are released later in the year seem to have a better effect on people. But at the same time, with God of War winning last year, God of War was a March release that year. So
yeah,
unless it's just having more people having more time ruminating on these big games and being able to really have an understanding of their thoughts on it. But I can't say I saw Sekiro winning like at all, especially like leading up to it in the Game Awards.
What I think it is, when Sekiro won and the more I thought about it, what I think this says to me is that the people, when they're voting for these awards, they're not actually picking their personal picks. They're doing the whole thing of like, objectively, what do I think should win this award? I think that's what leads to Sekiro winning. I feel like the only way Sekiro wins is if a lot of people sitting there going, oh, Resident Evil's my game of the year personally, but Sekiro probably deserves to win, and they're voting for it. I feel like it has to be a lot of that. I find it very hard to believe. A lot of people.
The reason it came out on top is it's such a divided, even year of game across that list. I think it just happened to have a couple extra people who are diehard amongst the committee.
If I was ordering these games, like Game of the Year, so like if I'd order them top of my head, like kind of picks, Sekiro would be the second last one I would put. I would put it just above the Outer Worlds as like in chances of winning. I would have put Outer Worlds at last because I know that as much as some people... Yeah, I don't think Outer Worlds had a chance of winning because as much as people enjoy that game, it's more like comfort food. Like, it does nothing new. It's literally just, hey, like, here's the RPG Fallout formula that you like from 5 years ago.
What about Smash Bros? I would argue that would be the leak.
I would have put that... Nah, I would put that above. People will argue for days that like you'll be like Smash Bros is the same game. Someone will be like, it's not. It has double rerolls now and counter things, and you can. But to me, there's nothing new. But I guarantee you talk to any Smash person, they'll be like, oh, there's a million things changed. You have no idea. Like there's all these things you couldn't do in Melee and the Wii U one or whatever. I don't understand it, but from what I do understand,
no, because they're still playing Melee. So,
well, yeah, that's also true. I honestly would have thought that. In my mind, the three vying to fight each other for this game was Control, Death Stranding, and Resident Evil 2. That was the three I thought it was coming down to. So when they announced Sekiro, I'm like, that wasn't even in my consideration for this fucking thing. Yeah. It's really weird.
It'd be interesting to see the conversations about this in the coming days, where more and more people have had an opportunity to sit down and talk about it. I'd like to hear the conversations from people that were part of that judging panel, maybe their discussions and their insight on how they voted. We'll shed a bit of light on how it worked or how it came to be.
Tell you what it is. Conspiracy. Jeff's like, I can't give it to Death Stranding. So he drew the name out of a hat.
they'll have my head on a stick if I call Death Stranding instead.
So he just drew a name out of the hat, happened to be Sekiro. Not to take anything away from Sekiro, I'm sure it's.
And then if Death Stranding had won, Jeff would have been coming out like, I drew it out of a hat, guys. I didn't pick it. I swear.
I mean, maybe.
But yeah, go check out Dylan's article about Sekiro from back in whenever Sekiro came out.
March.
He loved it and totally played the crap out of that game.
Leave a thumbs down on that YouTube video.
It's good enough. Just keep adding to it. Just keep adding to it. This is. I think my last thing before I move on, I'll say is, it is really weird that a game can win Game of the Year award that I feel like 1% of people will ever finish. You know, like every other year, I feel like every one of those games, apart from, well, obviously like not Overwatch, you can't finish Overwatch, but I feel like all of those games were like so much more accessible. Yeah, you chuck it in the bin. All of those games were so much more accessible.
You play one game, you played Overwatch. You play one match.
Play one match as every character, you're done. Yeah, finish the game. Credits?
Yeah.
Roll. What are you doing, Blizzard? Give me the trophies.
You've got to get the achievements for each character, you idiots.
But yeah, I feel like out of all the years, like the past 4 years, this one was the most like, as you said, niche. It's like, who the fuck is playing this goddamn game?
Put it in perspective. 2018 was God of War. 2017, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. 2016, Overwatch. 2015, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition. So
it's like RPGs, big open games that everyone was playing. Majority.
Or even just games that seem to have a resonating impact on people, where I don't see that impact on people. Like, I don't see people talking about Sekiro as like a complete experience. Like, I don't see it as...
They sell merch for all those other games. They don't show any... There's nothing for Sekiro. I mean, it's props to them, but this is an odd choice.
You know what? There's merch for Bloodborne, and that didn't win shit, and it's way better than this game.
And like, we had discussion about we had discussion about when we were deciding about Game of the Year and what Game of the Year is, and you know, when you look at this year, look back at the year in a couple of years' time, and you think, what is the game that defined that year? I don't think many people are going to have Sekiro as that game.
Oh, there's going to be a couple people weird. For sure.
There's going to be a couple, but I don't think the consensus would be Sekiro. If people were to objectively say a game, it wouldn't be Sekiro.
Ciaran, don't worry. Nobody's going to be thinking about this year's Oscar winner. So, when they think back of all the best films out of 2018, so
that's fair. They'll be thinking about Endgame.
All right, let's get into the actual show. What happened? I didn't write down like the meme stuff that happened, so we can just discuss it as it kind of aligns in your heads when it like happens, obviously. But yeah, I've just kind of copy pasted my notes with some links below them in our show notes here. But the Game Awards pre-show, the couple of things I wrote down that happened in that was they announced Marvel Ultimate Alliance DLC, some X-Men thing. They announced Humankind, some Civilization type game that's coming out in 2020 where you can pick your conqueror or something. They then announced No More Heroes 3. Cool. What?
Humankind looks cool.
Yeah, no, look. Then they announced No More Heroes 3, which had a really batshit crazy funny trailer where I was watching it and then I was literally like, what the fuck is this? And then as soon as Travis came on screen, I literally out loud went, oh, it's Travis. This makes sense now. I was like, oh, the weirdness that I've been watching. Yeah.
Two things went through my mind. I'm like, is this an E.T. adaptation at the start? I'm like, is E.T. in Smash? Because it was a Switch thing. And then I'm like, did they adapt that Mac and Me thing that's Paul Rudd always shows on Conan?
That would have been very out there, but you know.
Yeah.
We knew about No More Heroes 3 as well. It's like it already been announced that it was happening. Yeah. So which is the first trailer with a 2020 date. And then the last thing during the pre-show of big note was the Final Fantasy VII remake trailer. Nothing new. It was just another fucking trailer. Stop showing trailers for
VII remake.
Yeah. Stop showing trailers for this game. I'm over it this point.
Cloud Strife. I'm on a motorbike. Mm-hmm. There's lights. There's
the environments.
I've seen the same sections of this game, like so many different.
Just the
points
the opening like 45 minutes of the game. He's just like, okay, guys, I get it.
I mean, they could have done something. They could have like had a Greta Thunberg skin for like. That would have been interesting.
Wow, a Greta skin.
No, it's about the environment.
I mean, yeah. What a connection! What a connection what got going over there. So then we jump into actual show, and of course the show started with, I mean, undoubtedly the biggest news of the night, I think, which was that
churches were there.
Yeah, churches were there. Churches was there. Which if you want to rank the performances, love that one. Perfect. I love that song. That's my favorite song from the Death Stranding soundtrack.
I'm very disappointed that she like dressed up as in theme of,
and then the rest of them didn't.
The other two, I mean, one of them could have put on a suit, and played dead man.
Held
one
a
of them
baby
could have put like on the defibrillator thing.
What they need to do. Yeah.
Someone could have just worn the Die Hard band mask the entire time. You know.
I did like that performance though. That song plays in the credits for Death Stranding as well, and it's like thematically you finish that game and it's just like that song starts playing. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna cry now. Like, have you finished it? Update by the way, but
no.
Every fucking day it's like Ash is playing Death Stranding. I'm like, just finish the fucking game. What are you doing?
I haven't touched it since the last time we talked about it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my fucking god. Anyway,
I've been busy with other media related stuff.
I know, but you're so close. I'm like, just.
I know.
Anyway, maybe next week before the end of the year. Jesus Christ. No. They announced they played a trailer, and it was a very weird trailer. I'm watching it, and this was much like the Travis trailer. When I figured out what it was, I literally said out loud, like I was like, "Oh," because it like starts and it's like shows desert or whatever it is, like this. Yeah, all this stuff's happening. It's like a car, and then it starts showing like FIFA or something like soccer and whatever else is going on, and then Master Chief appears. What do you?
No, I've got something to talk about once we're done with this one.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
So then
missed an important thing in the pre-show.
Did we? Okay, sure. We'll come back.
Yes.
I'm about to miss at least a couple in these notes. There was a lot. Master Chief then shows up and then like starts showing this like it zooms out and it starts showing this like silhouette of something like in the water or whatever. And then there was this point I went new Xbox, like that was I just like because I was like my brain because for a hot second I was like, oh, I kind of blanked on my mind, like Halo showed up and I was like, oh, trailer for Infinite, but I was like, wait, they just showed me soccer, like that doesn't make sense at all.
I went through a read
new mode
because there was like
it took me a whole second.
It started with dreams and stuff, and then it had like a ring flying out in the sky, and I was like, Rings of Elysium? no, and then it kept transforming, and then I was like, oh, maybe it is, and then a car flicked into.
Yeah, it's like no.
And if there was a camera on me at time, I would have been visibly confused.
Yeah, I think I was too. Because my brain was like, oh, Halo. No, what? No. Xbox. I think I've got it all. Yeah, so then they revealed, so it comes out and it does reveal that the box, I mean, it literally looks like a fucking box this time, the Xbox. It's a mini PC. Like it looks like
it looks like
very PC like.
It does look like a tower. They've said it's
hefty.
Yeah, I know. I need to see it in real life because it's hard to judge these things. But I mean, they've got the controller next to it for scale, and they basically say you kind of sit like basically 3 controllers on top of one another, and that's like the length of the thing. They said the width is not much different to the current one or whatever. So, and they did, as much as everyone was making jokes, including myself online, about how like where the fuck do I put Ash as well, tweeting out jokes and be like, where the fuck do I put this thing on my thing?
My dad. Literally the first thing, because I was like, oh yeah, I was at this for dinner. I was like, yeah, there's a new Xbox. It looks more like a PC tower. It stood up, and he goes, how are people going to fit it in their cabinets? Yeah. And I was like, fucking you and the rest of the internet, Dad, you and the rest of the internet.
But they did confirm later in the blog post that, yeah, you can turn this thing on its side, and it will fit in any space.
You can turn everything on its side, whether that's the optimal way.
I mean, as long as it works.
Not when it's got a disk drive in it, and if the disk is running.
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer to put this thing on its side.
Yeah. But of course, you're not going to move it while the disk is running.
But if you put the disk, if the disk drive's upside down, it's just as bad. You want to make sure it's all around. Yeah. You can't just put it on any side.
But long story short, I'm going to put it on its side because that's the only way it's going to fit. So, like, there's no if or buts about it. On a news post after it happened, like Phil Spencer came out on stage, introduced it or whatever. Then he put up this whole news post, and I've got a couple bits I cut out here for our news post on the website. Xbox Series X will be our fastest, most powerful console ever and set a new bar for performance, speed, and compatibility, allowing you to bring your gaming legacy, thousands of games from 3 generations and more forward with you. In the whole news post, there was a lot of talk about bringing all your generations forward, making sure everything's backwards compatible. That seems like to be a hill they're kind of dying on with this console, as in, like, between Xbox Game Pass and backwards compatibility, this thing will, like, the day you pick this up, you'll be able to play a shit ton of old games.
You just keep going. You just keep going with everything you previously had, and you just
flow
move
on forward. Get the new stuff as you go. They then talked about, the Xbox controller for this one isn't going to be a huge upgrade. It does have one new button, which is going to be a share button, which I think is very good, because one of my biggest complaints with the Xbox compared to the PlayStation is the lack of share button. And I mean, it's not that big a deal to most people, I guess, but for me, whenever I've had to, like, review something and I'm playing it on Xbox, it is really fucking annoying that I can't just simply, like, anytime I review something on PlayStation, I'm saving screenshots, I'm saving video, I chuck in USB, off I go. Xbox, I have to fucking press a button, open up, swipe my menus across 10 times. Jesus Christ.
Anytime I want to get a screenshot for a gag, for a meme, so difficult.
What am I supposed to do?
I apologize for your ears, audience, from that outburst.
Isn't that what you do? Hey, Xbox!
Can we... how do we feel about the name?
It's like, guys, can you get away from Xbox, the letter S, and the letter X? Because
everyone online's already calling this thing sex. Xbox sex. It's been decided. The internet's ruled it Xbox sex. I don't think the name's very good. I think the second you start calling... I think, in my mind... The reason they're calling it Series X is because they're like, we'll set the precedent day one of the new generation that 2 years from now, when we bring out the Xbox Series X version 2, the Pro or whatever, it's called a series. There's more than one, right? It was in the name. That's how it was meant to go. And I honestly feel like that's what the name implies. Like, there's going to be, like, they're just kind of setting it up. There's going to be a new one, there's a new one, and a new one.
But what... I mean, if they did another series, what letter would it be?
Well, they don't need... Well, after X, they'll be Z.
Series Y, yeah.
Shut up. No, leave Y out of this. We're just going straight to Z.
I mean, it just seems like a dumb name.
It's a dumb name. I don't like it at all.
Although, to be fair, Xbox has the worst track record of naming their Xboxes. So.
It's really also really confusing because you got the Xbox One X and now they're like, here's the Series X. And to the Joe Show consumer going in, they like, what's the difference between Xbox One X and Xbox Series X? Like, what's the best one? Like, are they the same? Someone's like, oh, this is a new gen console. That's old gen. Yeah, but it's called the One X, like the Series X. Are they part of the same series? This one's Series X. This one's the One X. Are they the same family?
It sounds like sex.
Sounds like sex, JB Worker. Do you know what I'm saying, bro?
The amount of kids that walk out of the retailer, yay, I'm not going to be a virgin anymore.
I've got but you will because you got an Xbox. So, the one other thing for the controller was that they're upgrading the D-pad in it as well. They're bringing over the D-pad from the latest Xbox Elite controller. They're bringing over D-pad from that. And then on the technical front, they're like, once again, they're like 4K 60 FPS. I think 4K 60 FPS is apparently what the bottom line is supposed to be for this gen, is what they're... Kieran's shaking his head, but for most people, that's going to be more than what they're used to anyway.
Most people, that's going to be mind-blowing.
No. To be fair, I think 4K and hitting 60 FPS at a minimum is quite good, considering most people on PC do not have 4K screens and they're playing on their 120 hertz monitors.
It's good. It's just, I don't like that. Like, the 60 frames a second bit just bugs me. It's like,
you want 120, whoop, whoop. But they did say with a possibility of 120 frames per second, and I feel like that's obviously going to be like, okay, so you like your sports games, your racing games, whatever, like more, maybe some shooters, I guess, will aim for it or whatever, like very specific things can hit 120, but it's like your big open world, it's going to be 60.
What they should do, even though, yes, it's not on a PC, it probably doesn't have the capabilities, is give more graphical options in console games.
No, it's never gonna happen.
Give more graphic options of just being able to lower the graphics and then raise the FPS. Like, do that shit.
Oh, it might have that because that's what the Pro does.
Yeah, but do it. But
And
just have it as a whole. Like, just as a whole. Be like, this is... No, but not in the... Like, the X does it in, like, a very... it's just one setting instead of you can just change the settings yourselves on a PC.
Oh, yeah. That ain't gonna, the reason people like consoles is because... the reason that PC gaming isn't the thing is because people don't want...
Just have those settings there somewhere for the people that want to mess around.
I think the little settings is enough. It's like, you can put this on... Do you want 4K mode or do you want, like, higher frames mode? Like, that's enough for some people to understand, I guess. They, of course, did mention 8K as well, which anytime PlayStation or Xbox mention 8K, I'm still just like, I don't believe you. What the fuck are you saying? Like, 8K at 2 frames? Please. Like, what are you on about over here? Yeah, and then holiday 2020, of course, so whether that's before PlayStation, after PlayStation, yet to be determined. I don't know when we'll get more information on this thing early next year. Like, I don't think Xbox will hold their own event. I don't really know when they're going to drop information or how that's going to go. Maybe they're going to wait to E3, if that's a thing, I guess, before they announce
They're going to give the exclusive about the specs to PC World.
I mean, fuck it. Why not? Why not? Just do what you need to do. And then, of course, to tie that in, the next thing, the first official game of the show that was shown was our first look at a game on the Xbox Series X. Fuck saying that. The Xbox X. We're rolling with it.
Or the SX.
The SX.
Or just the SX.
What are we saying? Because I'm not saying Xbox Series X every time. We need to make a...
Just SX is fine.
All right, SX. So they showed the...
XX.
Nah, SX. SSX snowboarding. The first official game we got for the SX was revealed as Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which I tell you what, this show started with a bang for me because I was like, Xbox trailer, holy fuck! Show me a Hellblade 2. Like, this trailer started, and again, this was the only one I was audibly excited for. Like, this is the only one during the whole show that, like, you know, I'm watching in my couch in my lounge room. My back's against the couch at the start, laptop on my knees. Trailer starts playing. I start seeing some things, thinking, no, like, especially because it opens with Ninja Theory, and I'm like, okay, watching it for a bit, and then like without even thinking, as the trailer progresses, like laptop suddenly off my over to the side. I'm leaning more forward. It gets to a point where shows our first shot of Senua there at some point, and I just go, Hellblade.
The thing was, I was refusing to let myself believe it was Hellblade. I was like, maybe it's just somebody that looks a lot like her, but she's got different paint and coloring on her now, and I can't believe this. I will say, this is my general comment for this show. This opening was great for Xbox and fantastic for Xbox. I think this fucked the rest of the Game Awards.
It was very weird that the best thing was at the front, and then it ended with Fast and Furious.
It was very front heavy, and then how they like the final gameplay trailer was like,
yeah, they should have switched them. I think they should have switched them.
You guys should have fucking... Ugh. Okay,
well, they needed to put the most beautiful thing far away from that last thing they wanted.
Well, I think they wanted the Xbox thing as far away from the quote-unquote spectacle of Game of the Year. They didn't want...
Yeah.
They didn't want the hype over Xbox and Hellblade to take over from the Game of the Year.
Just to check, because I actually don't remember. Who hasn't... Ash, did you play Hellblade?
No, I did not.
No. Ciaran, you played Hellblade?
Yeah, I did. I finished it.
That was before your
stream. I think I streamed.
All right, this was 2017. This wasn't the dark year. This was 2017, not 18.
This was 2017 when I played games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously...
So my question is, does it make sense to have a sequel to Hellblade? Because that seemed like a one and done.
It does not make sense, and of course, a lot of people online have been like, "Oh, that didn't seem like a game that needs."
Kind of does.
I can't say without spoiling.
It doesn't need to. No, it doesn't need to have a sequel. Like, it was fine on its own, but how it finished, it was. Yeah, she was all. Yeah.
Yeah, I've purposely. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, the game's old. I understand. Like, I'm well within my right to kind of spoil it at this point, but also I'm like. But they just showed a trailer for a sequel, which may like spike people's interest in playing a game they may not have heard of. So I'm like, I'm choosing not to talk about spoilers.
It's such a different experience, and I think what it tackles in the game, spoiling it actually ruins a lot more than the game than other narrative spoilers. So
I'll say that when the game ended, I thought it was a one and done, and I thought I would have been very happy with it one and done. But at the same time, they've announced a sequel, and I'm choosing to trust them that there's more story there. And I also think a lot of this comes back to my experience with TV this year also, because they announced that, like, this year they put out a second series to Big Little Lies, which is a TV show that I thought was perfect as one season. And I was like, this show doesn't need a second season. Why does this... Like, I was very against it happening because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why the second season? But like the creators of that show managed to find a really interesting story there that I didn't even consider. So I think I'm just trying to be more open with, like, okay, well, they're doing a sequel. I don't think they would do it as a money grabbing thing, because as much as Hellblade was like critically well, like, it didn't sell like hotcakes. So this isn't like a money grab to me. There has to be a story there.
So looking forward to Chernobyl season 2.
No, I mean, that's
not getting that, buddy.
I don't think
not
that's
that one.
I don't think that's the same.
Do you think? Do you think it's a thing though that in the initial talks with Ninja Theory and Xbox, good old Philly Spence and Xbox came out and they were like, "Look, we're gonna have this new console coming out. We want a really solid release game to go with it that'll be on Game Pass when it comes out. Can you do Hellblade again? Can you give us a sequel to Hellblade?" And
no,
I don't think Hellblade 2 is moving systems.
I don't think. Yeah,
it's not going to move things, but I think it's going to be. It is more moving towards filling a spot that is not filled in the Xbox lineup.
Yeah, but it was Ninja Theory. They could have
critically acclaimed games.
Critically
acclaimed games, but no more.
They could have just
character.
They could have just had to make another IP. Like, they could have been like, make something like Hellblade again, like a very story-driven, character-based action game. But instead, they've made Hellblade 2. So, like, I don't feel like they needed to make a sequel. Like, so I'm just trusting that they know the story there. I don't think I can't figure out anything from that trailer. Obviously, it's a lot of imagery and song or whatever else.
It's a lot of screaming.
This I looked up. I really like the music in the trailer, so I looked it up and I wrote it was by this band called Hulung or Hulung. I don't know how to pronounce it. They're like fucking Denmark or whatever. But yeah, I found them on Spotify and I spent all afternoon like listening to their music, and it's all like that. Like, it's very like I don't know how you just even describe that type of music.
Norse.
Atmospheric?
Yeah, Norse shit.
Norse
yeah. Like, it's all like 8-minute songs, and like they're all like very like.
There was probably
good
some
shit.
like
I was like, I'm down.
people that are like. There's probably some people that are proper like Norse mythology nerds that like lost their shit over like the symbols and shit that
Flashing
were in that
screen.
trailer.
I mean,
like, there was a lot of symbolism in that trailer that 90% of people would be like,
was a part with it. I'm like,
got a fucking clue.
Like, there's people, you know, it looks like a cult, looks like Outlast, bloody occult people at some stage in the trailer. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this game? But
there was one part I thought had frozen. I was like, guys, are we moving past this point? Are we? Oh, no, we're good.
The only thing I'll say without spoilers is that Senua in this trailer looks in charge, like the boss.
She looks like a shaman or something of a tribe.
Yeah.
Like, she looks.
In the first game, she's the way she goes through that game is she learns to be stronger and whatever else, I guess. So that's like the only thing I kind of got was I'm like, she looks much stronger in this game, whereas, I mean,
it looks like it's definitely not a prequel. It's definitely
a prequel would be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous to make a prequel, I think. So, anyway, I'm very excited. I will 100% like. Oh, and also before we move on, all in-game engine footage
looks really good,
and it looked really, really good.
Like her facials and like her character model in that trailer looked fucking amazing. I was like, yep.
We'll say though, the first game, which was a kind of indie game, like it was a very small budget game that they made, looked fucking phenomenal. And that was like, I remember playing it because I played that on PlayStation, and playing that I was like, this game looks so good. Like, this was such a small budget thing. Like, how does this look so good? So now I'm like, now that they've got Microsoft money up there, I'm going to be like, the game I expect to look phenomenal out of the gate. I'm like, if they could do that on a small budget, what are they going to do with all the goddamn money? So yeah, it's good. Also, I'm glad to see that I don't know her name off the top of my head, but the actress who played
randomly pulled out of their
dev team
art department or something, or their dev team. It was just
I'm glad they're not like Microsoft's like, you gotta have a real. You better get Laura Bailey over the play now. You know, we're gonna have a name
Laura
on
Bailey.
this. Yeah.
Or Ashley Birchin, get her in.
Get some big name voice actor to come play the goddamn game. Yeah, no, they're just like, still, let's go for it. Next thing that was announced was Control Expositions is out now, as the day of recording, Friday, of course. I don't think I'll play that because it's not story based. It's just like
time trials or like survival.
Yeah,
missions
basically to get like cool gear and stuff. But I guess like if you really love the Control combat, which the combat's fun, but it's not enough to make me want to be like dive back in. But either way, that's cool. I'm more looking forward to the DLC we're getting next year, which is story based. Then they announced Godfall, which is our first look at a PS5 game. First officially announced PS5 game. Although of course there's a lot of games we're presuming a PS5. This is the first trailer where it's like at the end. Confirmed. PS5. This is a PS5 game. It's also coming to PC. It's an Epic Games Store exclusive on PC as well. So fight over that. The one thing I found...
And a Gearbox game.
Yeah, Gearbox published. The developer is Counterplay Games is the developer. So the trailer, we'll break it down to two parts here. We'll start with the game first, and then I'll start with the interesting tidbit I found after the fact, which is... So the trailer is all, once again, in-game footage. And make sure to come up the whole thing. Be like, in-game, it's all in-game. They're calling it a looter slasher, which I think is a fucking ridiculous name for anything. Looter shooter at least sounds cool, and it was like a genre that everyone understands, but now they're like looter slasher. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Isn't that what a loot game was?
They're just it's just the same loot game. It's just instead of guns, you're using swords, but they're like, it's a looter slasher now. Good So you got like shows three characters in big like fuck off armor and shit. They got cool swords. One of them's like on fire and all this. Like the armor and everything swords look really cool. Basically runs down a corridor.
Swords are going to be big in 2020.
Swords are big, yeah. Like get hyped. And then end of the trailer, they have fucking the Dragon Ball Z dragon appearing from above, and they're about to make 6 wishes or whatever the hell's going on, and they cut to black and they go for it. Yeah, the trailer doesn't really explain much, but yeah, so it's a third-person action melee-based game where you it's being built around being a co-op experience. You know, like your looter shooters, your looter slashers. So you and two other friends can team up and go on your daily missions. I'm sure it's probably supposed to be some games as service thing, probably. I mean, I'm just presuming here a little bit, but what do you think of the trailer? Did it grab anyone's attention, Ciaran?
I liked. At first I was like, oh, is this like another trailer for it's Vanguard? No, it's
Vanquish.
Not Vanquish. Vanquish is what I first thought, and then I thought it was the MMORPG that's all about suits
Warframe.
And stuff. Trailer. Warframe, that's the one. Thank you. I thought it was Warframe, but I really liked the suit designs, and I enjoyed the character interaction as little as it was. I'm interested. I think it looked very Destiny and very Warframe, so I'm like, okay, maybe you're pulling heavily from those things, but yeah, I think it'll be something to give a try.
Ash?
It's got an interesting art style. I mean, art design of the characters and that kind of thing. Very armory.
Very
which I guess makes sense in hindsight with it being like a loot-based thing. But yeah, I mean, it could be cool, potentially.
So I found an interview that the CEO of developer Counterplay Games did with PlayStation Lifestyle after the Game Wars was over. And one interesting piece, apart from like asking about the game and all these sorts of things that stood out to me, was that the trailer ends with them saying it says holiday 2020 release date, which fits, of course, because we know that's when the PlayStation's coming. But then Lee in that interview said, we're excited and honored to be selected by Sony to be a PS5 launch title. We plan to be alongside PlayStation every step of the way next year. Now, of course, he could mean launch window, but I'm like, did he let slip? Like, is it our first officially confirmed launch day one title? Of course, he said it, not me. And then
you're like, he let it slip, so you're diving on those words desperately.
Yeah, damn right. And then another interesting thing I thought was that he, in the same interview, he got asked like when we'll see the game next, and they said that we'll have more information about Godfall next spring, American spring, which is March, April, May. Which I'm like, okay, so if we're learning more about it then, and this is potentially a launch game, then does that mean that's kind of the dates we're going to be going with when the PS5 like event is going to happen. Launch event is going to happen. That we're eventually going to see happen for sure. So now in my mind, putting all the puzzle pieces together, I'm like, March, I guess. Like around March is probably when we're going to get our PlayStation 5 reveal event. And of course I'm reading between the lines here. But
all the algebra flying around him, like he's like thinking, he's putting together, he's seeing the puzzle come together.
That's what you got to do. You got to think like this. What do you think? I'm over here just to fucking talk shit about games? And no, I mean yes, but also this is the kind of the way your brain's got to work to get the good content. I don't know, get the hot scoops. That's what you need to do. No, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we go. But next thing they showed a trailer for was something I want to play, but I doubt you will, which was Bravely Default 2. So I've played both the Bravely games. They were 3DS games. They're cool.
Again, dumb name.
It is a very dumb name because the first game was called Bravely Default. The second game was called Bravely Second, which Bravely Second was a shit name at the time, but like whatever. And now they're calling the third game Bravely Default 2. It's the third game.
It's a reboot, in the vein of the recent Terminator that just cuts some of the canon out.
They're like, we'll just delete that. But Bravely Second was set like 100 years or something, after the events of the first one and blah, 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 blah. Kind of like the sequel to Ni no Kuni.
Maybe this one's set right after the first game.
Possibly. But it's still funny. It's like Bravely Default, Bravely Second, Bravely Default 2. It's the third game. It's so weird. Either way, it's going to be the first Bravely game to come to home consoles because, of course, it's going to be on the Switch. The other ones were 3DS games. The last game that team made was Octopath Traveler, which was the reason I was interested in the first place because it had a lot of like Bravely influence to it. But I'm cool. I'm excited. I'll probably play this. Will I finish it? Don't know. They're always like 100 hours, so I'll at least play it because I like it. I got the collector's edition for Bravely Second. I love the art style in that game. Like it was like 100-something page art book. It was the fucking thickest art book I've ever got in a collector's edition. It was great. Next thing they showed a trailer for was Magic Arena Theros Beyond Death trailer event thing. I don't know. There was a lot of Magic stuff in this thing, and this was the first to show it off, as well as like ads in between the show and whatever else. I was like, is this a trailer for Arena, or is this just a trailer for the cart?
I didn't realize it was in a trailer for the Arena until the trailers, like the ads start coming on. Because then I saw like the actual in-game stuff happening, and I was like, oh, it's the Arena. Because I was like, when they first started talking about it, I'm like, oh, showing TCG stuff at the Video Game Awards.
It's a set that's coming out for the TCG, but it's coming out in the Arena as well, obviously. So
yeah, it's like, oh, that's a bold move, I guess. Sure.
They're just marketing it. Okay. They're just marketing the Arena version more because it's a video game show, I guess. They've got some free event that's happening at the moment over the weekend where you can I think it gives you like certain decks or something to first people and you could win packs or whatever over the weekend, some certain event that's happening. I don't know if I'll check it out, but I did just download the update before. They
after considering in minor news, isn't the Elder Scrolls card game dead?
It is dead. Officially,
it's dead now, right?
They officially said it was dead.
Yeah, they officially no more updates or anything for it. It's Dunsky. Yeah,
and I thought that game was pretty good. So.
Or it's complete.
Yeah. Oh, it's complete.
Wow. You finally got the whole set, guys. Yugi, let's go home.
Yeah, don't need any more improvements.
We're going back to play Dungeon Dice Monsters.
I like Dungeon Dice Monsters. That's a great game.
Yeah, why are you going
to... Next thing that was shown was one of the weirder things. They showed a trailer for, I don't even know if it's the name of the game really, or if it was just the name of the video, but Prologue, which was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds our first teaser.
Oh, yeah, that's a game.
Well, like PUBG is a game, yes. It's still got a decent player base. Like it kind of dipped really hard and then it's like kind of stabilized at like a point now where it just like consistently gets a certain number and like, okay, it's still going. But Prologue, I don't know if that's the name game or just like what they played in the video. I don't know what the hell the point of this video was because I guess it was to show people who didn't know that they were working on a single player game, but like I knew this because they announced it like months and months and months ago.
I don't know if we missed something, because the broadcast did the weird pan like out of the camera.
It was just
to
a
show
forest.
The orchestra.
It was just a forest.
It was just a forest with a rock in the middle, and I was like,
I've rewatched it. I've rewatched the full thing. It's just 30 seconds of that, and it does look pretty. I think that's the takeaway. It's like, oh, you know, like how PUBG looks like shit, and it does look like
garbage.
shit.
Yep.
They're like, well, this ain't the PUBG you're used to. It now looks pretty and stuff. And I mean, I'm interested to see how this turns out because Brian Green, is that his name? I think that whoever Player Unknown is.
Unknown.
I think that's his real name. He like left the PUBG main team or whatever, like at the start of the year or whenever it was, and he took a bunch of people away into a separate group, started this new team, and the whole thing was like, we're going to start experimenting and we want to make stuff. And interviews with him at the time when he was talking about it, he's like, I don't want to do, like, I'm over PUBG. Like, that was fun at the time. Like, I've you know, the dude basically created a new genre that will be around for forever as far as I'm concerned. Like, Battle Royales aren't dropping off anytime soon as much as Team Deathmatches aren't dropping off anytime soon. So he gets my respect in that regard. And it's like, okay, well, you know, kind of pressure's on now, my man. Like, what can you whip up the second time around? Like, what are we doing now?
The fact that Forza Horizon is getting a battle royale,
it's out today. I think I've yet to try it.
Is a further extension of that. You know, that how far that reach of that game.
Yeah. So, but what this video told me was, I think the only takeaway we're supposed to have was it looks good. Like graphically, it looked good. Like it looked like a realistic forest and cool. All right. Next thing was the Fortnite Cross Star Wars event, which went for way too long on stage. My biggest,
really long
it was the longest time ever. But they're doing this whole Fortnite event at the moment where you can jump in, you can buy a Rey costume, you can buy a Finn costume, you can buy a Sith Trooper costume, other things I'm sure. And then
there's a glider.
You get the glider if you come join at Sunday morning. So tomorrow, if you're listening on day release of this podcast, Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Australian normal time, they will be
daylight time.
Daylight time, whatever. All right, whatever. They're doing this whole thing where they're much like they've done previously, like they're doing this in-game event thing where you'll go in and you'll be able to see an exclusive clip of The Rise of Skywalker. It's going to be presented to you by J.J. Abrams and Jeff, I think, is what the go.
He's going to be there in game.
Jeff is
got to be in there in game to do it. Now, see, I've just installed the game before we started recording. I've installed Fortnite on my PC, and I said to Ciaran before we started recording that I was like, I've installed the game, and I'm currently at 50-50 on if I'll do it because it's 6 a.m. on Sunday. Don't know if that sounds great, but I did install it so that if I decide to, it's there. Because I feel like the only time I'll ever do one of these fucking Fortnite events is like this, you know?
In before Dylan wakes up at 5:58 on Sunday morning in a cold sweat, not making the decision, goes, holy shit, it's Fortnite, I've got to go, and like jumps on the PC and loads up Fortnite.
My thing is that I'm not that, I don't care that much about the clip. The only reason I'd want to do it is just because like it's Star Wars. I'm like,
can I advise you of something? Yeah. If you do intend to do it, load up Fortnite once, because the moment you load it up, it forces you into a bot game.
What?
Like you load up,
I've played it on my phone and my Switch. Will it still?
But it won't count because I don't think it'll count unless you've connected everything. Because you'll load up, it'll have.
I would
if you haven't played
I'd
since,
play a couple of games just to be sure.
If you haven't played since like the recent chapter 2
launch,
I've played one game on my Switch a year ago, and I played one game on my phone.
You should
a couple
definitely
weeks ago.
prior to playing, you're gonna have to play at least one game.
All right, I guess I have to play
probably
one game.
3
I'm
or
gonna
4.
play one game. I'm never gonna wake up at 6 a.m. after this whole time after all this talking about it. That's what's going to
Play
happen.
one game, get addicted to Fortnite. That's how they get you in.
I ain't getting addicted to Fortnite. I don't fucking time for this building shit. Get the hell out of here. Let me fucking build and shit. But we'll see how that goes anyway. Anyway, the Star Wars. Even if you don't go to the event, you can get Star Wars items.
The Fortnite guy seems very scared of accidentally spoiling something. Like, he seemed very reluctant to talk about anything. Jeff's like...
Yeah, well, they're making out like something else is going to happen.
Please.
Like, there's a clip, and maybe some other stuff will happen. I'm like, what else could happen that's going to be that cool, honestly?
The Death Star will pop out and blow them all up.
I mean...
Well, there's already a freaking
now you get
Star
to
Destroyer
experience what it was like on Alderaan.
Well... Kylo Ren shows up and... It's like the whole Thanos.
Hello, I am Kylo Lorraine.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll even if I don't go to the thing, maybe I'll jump in and dress up as fucking Ray or something and be like, I'm playing Fortnite, guys. We're playing Fortnite.
You're gonna dress up as Ray? You're gonna spend money on the game?
I'm dressing up as. I mean, how much is it? Like a couple bucks?
It'll probably be like $5.
Yeah, I'd spend $5 for a meme. You know,
you might have to buy like V-Bucks, so you might have to spend like $10.
I spend $10. I'll spend $5 for a meme. I might spend $10.
You'll probably have to spend $10.
No, that's lunch money.
$5 is the max for a meme.
That's.
Heard it here first.
Depends how good the meme is. Next thing they showed was Sons of the Forest, which is a sequel to The Forest, a game that came out like many, many years ago. I brought it when it was in early access. I still haven't played it. That was good times.
They've done a lot of work on that.
Yeah,
game.
now everyone's like, it's great, it's amazing. I'm like, okay, I'll install it, I guess.
You'll never go back and play it.
But
like,
I've got holiday soon, Gareth.
They've added like a storyline to that game and everything. Yeah. Like it's a whole thing.
Back in the day, it was just this co-op survival /survival.
Yeah, it was like, okay, go. It was, hello, I'm similar to Rust and
but scarier.
Minecraft and scarier with
demons in there,
cannibals and stuff.
But this trailer was cool. I thought like it looked. I think this makes out like it's going to be more like a single player game.
It looked really good.
Looked good though.
It looked. I don't know. I wouldn't say it looks like a single player game just because I know what it looks like.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, like the story elements of the forest,
the full release. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Next thing they showed was the first of many League of Legends things. So the first one was Ruined King, which is being developed by Airships Syndicate, who just released the recent Darksiders Genesis. They said it's going to be a story-driven, turn-based RPG set in Bilgewater. You're going to play as someone rather. They said Gangplank's name, some of the things, blah, 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 blah. Like every one of these fucking League of Legends trailers, though, they were just like this 30-second cinematic shit that doesn't show you the actual game, gives you real no idea what the trailer's about.
Cinematic, though. It wasn't really a cinematic because it was just like comic-ified. And I was like, is this about Thresh? Who's this about? Because
I mean, Thresh might be in it, I guess. I don't know.
He's like, his lantern was in it at one point, and I was like, this looks very... his color scheme, but then Gangplank was mentioned, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued by the idea. I'm intrigued by the idea of any of these League of Legends games, but I'm just going to say it now, like ahead of time. All of the trailers for them were shit. I don't like any of them. None of them grabbed my attention. I mean, maybe if you're a hardcore League of Legends fan, like it's enough to get you like, just to hear like, you know, like all these things are going to like tick boxes in your head and you start getting hyped. But I feel like for most people, even me who like understands the names, right? I'm someone who's like, okay, you're saying these character names, I know. Yep. But at the same time, that's still not doing enough for me to be like, what is the fucking game? What am I doing? What's it look like? Like, it's just not doing it for me. It's
a turn-based RPG. What else?
But it's going to be completely a new style of turn-based RPG. So what the fuck does that mean, guys?
You get extra turns.
No, they did that in Bravely Default.
My boy, he's done it. Yes, he has done it.
If you click fast enough, then you get extra turns.
Heard it here first.
I'm excited. Next thing they showed was a Cyberpunk 2077 behind the music thing, which was followed up by a performance of Grimes, I guess, kind of. Yep. Cool. Like I like the people who are doing music for this game. That's thumbs up. Good job. Most person who got me most excited got Run the Jewels in this shit. I'm excited. I'll listen to any new Run the Jewels shit. Basically.
So
they started the video.
Can we lock in the winner for the Game Award for Music and Sound next year?
Next year, yeah.
They'll score.
It's going to be Cyberpunk. Yeah. I honestly feel like it'll probably just be Cyberpunk anyway. But at first I was like, this was one of those things where like they're like, let's talk about the music of Cyberpunk. I was like, I don't really fucking care. And then like 6 seconds into the video, Run the Jewels were there. I'm like, I fucking care. Like, I did like the biggest fucking 180. And then like ASAP was on later and shit. So I was like, cool, I'm solid. And then she came out, did a song, I guess, or whatever. It cut to Elon in the crowd. I hated it. Fucking get out of here, you fuck. I'll tell you what, if this game comes out and they've literally done some crossover and they put his stupid fucking tank car thing in this game.
Cybertruck.
I'm going to kill someone.
Yeah, just by putting the camera on him, he probably sold it.
It's the most awkward thing too. He's like sitting next to I can't remember her name.
Kimi.
Yeah.
Nakamura.
Last name is. Yeah. Who was just on stage, which I mean, we can pause on for a sec. That was great. We all loved her. Glad she's in again. She can't speak English very well, but she can say bear. That was great.
She's got an energy about her.
She's got an energy about her. That was good stuff to see.
She bowed down to the person. And I was like, oh, that's good.
She asked Elon Musk on Twitter later if she can design the next Tesla.
Oh, no. You know what I mean?
Dylan's instantly bought it.
The next Tesla looks like a Kami.
I don't think we've ever had to talk about Elon Musk on this podcast for various reasons probably, but I don't like Elon Musk. I have him muted on Twitter because I can't. There's no difference to me. Like some people take him really serious and they love him.
What do you got against energy?
Because
cars.
I have nothing against energy cars. That's great. I like.
What do you got against PayPal?
No. Let me boil it down. I like the products he puts out, but the guy's a cunt. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's just the delivery of just.
I just want to boil it down. Like Tesla, cool. Cars.
Yep, you boiled it down.
You boiled it right down, mate. Like there is nothing to get back out of this.
Yep,
meat.
I don't think anybody is confused about your feelings.
Bland and mushy now. That's how much you've boiled.
One of my least favorite parts was when they cut to him and he did this whole like awkward like get out of here, Elon, you fucking twat.
Really? In that show, that was your least favorite part?
No, it was one of my least favorite. It wasn't my least favorite though. Next thing they showed was this Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance trailer. So the game is going to be a first person, I think, action game. Anyway, the trailer they showed I thought was okay. I hated it at first, and then I was kind of like, you know what? I think
it was kind of cool for a Dungeons and Dragons fanboy.
And then I was
just because it had Drist in it, and I was like, "Yep, that's pretty cool. I'm proud of this."
So
who's Drist?
Drist is a Drow Ranger that is very heavily featured throughout Dungeons and Dragons lore and books.
So you going to play this?
Why?
Or?
Probably. Yeah, I'll pick it up. It depends on what it evolves into. If it's a full game, yes. If it's not like that. What was that game Nick and you played? That was
Corner Cocked the game.
Corner Cocked the game.
It was Warhammer.
It wasn't D&D.
That was Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Games like that, not interested. If it's a full experience,
Ratscape or something.
Vermintide too.
Vermintide, that's it.
I knew there was something related with rats.
Eurogamer has a story. It says a quick word on the studio making it's called Turk. It's a relatively unknown studio in Montreal, created by ex-Ubisoft veterans. Livelock, the studio's first game, looks like a pretty good co-op action RPG, which bodes well. Wizard acquired Turk, I don't know, a couple months ago, and there are around 55 people working there. Back to Dark Alliance, it will be a spiritual successor, not a direct successor to Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games from the PS2 and Xbox era. The old story then will be left alone. It's a new story, Turk Studio head Jeff Hatterman told me in an interview. It's a spiritual successor. It's been so long since the original Dark Alliance 2. It's generations ago, console generations. We felt it wouldn't do that. Those two games are really good in their own right, and we're putting our own spin on things. We felt like this might be the beginning for a new franchise. The new beginning means moving away from Baldur's Gate setting and into Icewind Dale, hence the name change, but the story will continue to center around Drizzt Do'Urden and Ra Salvatul's stories. Perhaps most importantly, new beginning means moving from top-down gameplay to third person. We wanted to bring the camera to a more intimate, visceral experience of the harshness of Icewind Dale. Blah, 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 blah. So you have a bunch of playable characters, third-person action game. Team up with 3 friends. That's the game. There's some more screenshots in that article too. The game doesn't look bad. Like they were looked like gameplay ones. So I'm keen to learn more. I'll look up more later. Mirage called in Jeff, which at first I thought this was like a really well-timed video, but it turns out they were just doing it live. So that was pretty cool. They had old mate
Roger Craig Smith
in a mocap suit up in the corner somewhere else.
Roger Craig Smith, man. Yeah. What a misdirect.
Yeah. Didn't know. I was quite impressed after I found out they just did it live. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean.
Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tech.
Also, as the whole thing itself, everyone on Twitter, in my Twitter feed, was like, this is shit, cringy, hate it. I liked it, to be honest.
I think it was good. If it was good, and if it'd been any other Apex Legends character, it wouldn't have worked. It was just because it was the most charismatic character of Mirage and his performance in it that made it good. I was
like, am I enjoying this because I understand that that's the character Mirage, and other people hating it because they don't play Apex Legends or never played the game at all, and they don't get the character.
Didn't get play it when it came in,
So I'm like, is that why I'm kind of enjoying it? But either way, I enjoyed the bit. I thought it was quite funny. And then that led on to them announcing there's a Christmas limited time event on at the moment where like everything is turned Christmassy and whatever else. So basically, like, I'll give the Game Awards one thing. It's done a lot of like, I'll reinstall that, make sure that's up to date, reinstall that, make sure that's up to date. Don't know if I'll have time to try any of these things, but I'll see how I go, like.
It's done a good job of a lot of, this year especially, there was a lot of, and this is available right now. Like, like that kind of impactful kind of release.
Yeah, if I had literally nothing else to do after the Game Awards was over, like if I had nothing else to do today, I would have happily like updated Apex, jumped into this, or any of these number of things like where I had
waited patiently for the Star Wars thing.
Waited patiently for the Star Wars thing or something. Like there was lots of stuff for me to be like, that's cool, that's exciting. Like, will I do it?
Yeah.
No, because I go to write up news posts and what the fucking else. But this is what we're doing. So that was cool. And then it also has it's not the turn stuff Christmassy, but they've also added in this Winter Express limited time mode at the moment, which is like an objective protecting thing. It seemed like you're protecting the train or something. I gathered. I couldn't really understand. Either way, I like to see that they're adding limited time modes now, not that are completely different to the main game as well. So that was cool to see.
Yeah.
You dived back in, by the way, Ash? You're going back to...
I might give it a go. Yeah. If you want to jump in, you need a buddy.
Well, there was like that...
Still need to chase that first win, right?
there was like that month where I'd see Ash like playing it or whatever else, or like I'd see he just dive off, then I'd like message him like, I'm playing now, like come back. Yeah, Apex, good shit. Next thing was an Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I've literally got in my notes here. I just forgot I wrote this down, but I literally wrote Ori and the Will of the Wisps gets its 2,678th trailer. Which
I mean, is this the current holder for longest time between release and announcement?
No. Duke Nukem Forever, Last Guardian, Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, like without a release.
I mean, the game had a release date, didn't it? It got moved from like this year to next year, so... I mean, the game feels like it's had trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer, and it's not like a big open world game or like a big story game where there's like enough to constantly keep you intrigued. I'm just like,
it's the same shit I've seen. I've seen this stuff.
Ori.
I've seen the Spooder. I've seen you play a boss fight.
Yeah.
I've seen this. Stop showing me.
I was like, whatever to this. I was like, it's Ori. I've fucking seen this shit. Then Wolfeye Studios came out, and who are made up of like Prey and Dishonored devs. This new studio came out to announce their first game with Devolver Digital as the publisher. It's called Weird West. Didn't really go into like exactly the gameplay details, but it seems like it's going to be like a top-downy,
it's like a
third person
dungeon crawling kind of.
Western.
It's like a Wasteland kind of game. It looked like
possibly. I got to be honest, I wasn't super whatever on this one.
Nah, it was like, it's okay, Wild West, but with like supernatural themes. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
there's a couple of games like that I've seen on Steam and that kind of stuff. But the art style kind of sticks out. It looks cool. So
yeah, did stand out.
We'll see.
I mean, I like it's got like dev credentials to give it like intrigue, I guess. Then they showed a trailer for Magic Legends, which is a Magic the Gathering MMO, which when I Googled, I found out they actually announced this was happening years ago, and they never gave a trailer or anything. They simply announced, like, we're working on this thing, Magic Gathering MMO. We finally get our first trailer. It's not actual gameplay. It's a fucking cinema. But, I mean, to be honest, anytime there's a trailer for an MMO, it's fucking cinematic anyway.
It's not going to be
never
gameplay.
So
I mean, cinematic.
Yeah, it's shocking because the real gameplay is going to be you go to a comic book store and you sit down, you pull your deck out and you start playing Magic.
No.
You pull your deck out.
You pull your deck out. What are you saying over there, Ash Hellblade?
And then your deck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you get
Your
banned.
Then you get banned from the cards. Yeah. They I saw some people online being like, "Does like Magic have enough lore to hold a MMO?" And I'm like, "Yes, it does.
What?
Yes,
They do.
I mean,
they do like regular
Story.
website blogs of just like stories about their characters, and it's like,
when when I was hardcore, I'd read the website updates every single week as they release them. So,
and it's like they have that many characters that they retire characters and just keep going with a different set for a while, and then they bring them back when they need to. It's like the
MMO.
It looks.
They said they're going to play as a planeswalker, and you'll like travel across planes in the MMO. So,
as long as you go to Ravnica, I'd be happy.
I mean, it looks like they're really pushing this property, considering they've also got that Russo brothers anime
thing coming out. Yeah.
The thing is, even if they could follow in the footsteps of Elder Scrolls Online, where Elder Scrolls Online just keeps releasing region after region after region. Yeah. They can just keep releasing planes and just being like, what do you mean spoilers? That's what they've done for the last 3 years.
Isn't there a special Elder Scrolls announcement?
You've just spoiled it by pointing it out. Good job, Ashley.
You're welcome.
I'm not an MMO.
I spoiled this thing that was just announced. I spoiled this episode of the podcast, yeah.
I'm not an MMO person, but I'd probably try this out if it released because of my past with Magic, so... I don't think I'm ever the type of person that could ever fully commit to an MMO or anything solely because I refuse to like get stuck with one game these days because it's just not like what I want to do.
Yeah. Or you have commitment issues. Yeah,
yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, commitment issues. But I'll try it out.
I know,
you gonna have a hot take over there with your face? No? Oh, yeah. No. Shut the fuck up. Next thing they showed...
Focusing on what's next.
Okay. Next thing they showed was Powerful Warrior, which was an Oculus game. It looked like crap, but looked like fucking Street Fighter or some Street Fighter inside
it. It looked like, what was it?
Gore? Is it Gore, that game?
No. The beat-em-up game, I can't remember what it's called, like River City Ransom or something like that.
Yeah, that's one.
But in 3D.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting idea.
I didn't think it looked
It's not the prettiest thing, but I guess it's kind of trying to emulate.
It didn't look like anything I'd want to play either, though. I'm like, why would I? I mean, maybe for some people, but for me, I was like, this looks... I don't know why I'd want to play it.
You don't want to punch people in the face?
No, because it's like
throw like darts at people.
There's boxing games and shit that are like better.
Do you want to... And you get to throw darts at people and catch knives?
Yeah, I'm good. The next...
And you don't look like a red person?
God, I don't even look like a red person. Next thing they showed was the Ghosts of Tsushima.
Geishas of Tsushima.
That's the sequel. Ghost of Tsushima trailer, which was, of course, teased at the State of Play early in the week.
Ghost of
Tsushima trailer that they showed teased early in the week.
I was surprised. I thought it was ghosts.
No, it's just
there's a
singular ghost character, but I think every time I write ghost because in my mind just is like ghost. I don't know, must fit better as a title. So we got a release date-ish. We got summer 2020. Weird release date. American summer 2020, which is June to August is when it's going to release.
Yeah.
Weird time. But also, where the fuck else does it fit? Cool.
Especially when you look at next year's calendar, you're like...
It's like...
I mean...
Fuck, where do I put this?
Yeah.
It puts them in a tough spot in terms of they don't have much space if they feel like they need to push this game back. Like,
I mean, they can push it back. It's just it goes right up against PS.
Yeah, which will be horrible.
Like the thing is,
launch.
It's when the closer you get to the PS5 launch, the worse it has an impact on the game, though, right? Because
I think it would.
When did Last of Us come out on the PS3 cycle?
It was like 6 plus months before the PlayStation.
It was at least 6 months. Like I wouldn't want to launch anything past like August, September.
Really? So you don't think we're going to get any games between August and September?
No. But I wouldn't launch a in-house title that is for a former generation.
Really? Like even for something that's backwards... the next game, the console is going to be backwards compatible. So it's not like
I don't know. I just think it's weird. I just think it's weird to do that.
I think this is going to come out August of that release schedule. Because Last of Us is out May. So...
Okay.
Like, June's obviously too close. I mean, it could come out July, but it's like, okay. Late July, early August, maybe, something like that. And then we get September,
Let
October.
us all have a break after we binging these games for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think, except for maybe January, I can't think of a month in, like, the first 2/3 of, like, maybe the first half of 2020 where I'm not like, this is the game I'm playing for the month. And then devs come out with shit like Resident Evil 3, and I'm like, I don't know when I'm even going to play you. I haven't even fucking picked up Resident Evil 2 yet.
You have 3 days to play it.
It's fucking hell.
There's like a point next year where it's like, all right, where like you're about to enter like 6 months of hell of like having to play stuff, and then I'm gonna hope that somewhere like there's a maybe September slows down for a hot second, and it's like everyone catch your breath, and then next year consoles, let's go.
New generations go.
Next year is it's absolute nonsense, really. But the trailer was cool. What everyone think of the Ghost of Tsushima trailer? I thought it was cool. Ciaran, did you like it?
Looks super pretty.
I liked it. It looks very good. I liked the character designs. I like the whole theme of it. It's nice to see. I remember thinking when this and Sekiro were being advertised, where I'm like, how do we differentiate these? I think I have a trailer in my brain that I don't know which game it's for. Still to
the
this
one
day
you
that
just
I keep...
watched.
No, not the one I just watched. I know. Ash, go this fucking arcade out couch, Ash. Fuck's sake. But I think it really showed more of the story of this game, and I'm looking forward to playing it and discovering why he's a ghost.
Because his village got burnt to the ground.
Yeah, but like why?
But
why
is it though?
What do you think, Ash?
Is it?
Yeah, it looks great. I'm curious to see how the game, mission and mission gameplay is going to work. I have a hunch about what it could potentially be, but maybe we'll talk about that a bit more on Plat this coming week.
Oh, look!
Wow. Okay, don't talk about it while I'm here. Then fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Fuck me, am I right? We're going to talk about it in our boys' club at PlayStation's #1 Oceania podcast.
I don't know if you know, but we had like a jam-packed episode this week, so there's definitely not going to be any news or content for the next episode. So you got to save as much as possible. Saving these nuts for the winter.
Saving these nuts for the winter. All right, up next was Ciaran's Game of the Show. Gears Tactics, the sequel to Gear Pop, coming out April 2020. I've played Gears War game, but looked pretty cool.
I'm actually pretty excited for this game. I think Xbox in the past had done me dirty. They pissed me off by using this game against me to block out Gears of War 5. But now that Gears of War 5 is out and it's past me and it's on, it's there to be finished at some point. And the thing is, I didn't know what kind of game they were going to go, or if they were going to go with a full Gears of War storyline for this game. And now that has filled itself
what
out,
is it?
I'm very excited.
Understand. What is it?
It looks like it's going to be more of a prequel. So all of the Gears of War stuff that we've played, it'll be before 1. So 1 takes place, I can't remember how many years, but it takes place a decent amount of time after the resurgence of I can't remember what the fuck, the bad guy, the Locust.
That's them.
Before
even I know that.
The Rise of the Locust. So #1 takes place faster. This looks like it's going to be like midway through that period of time where the humans have gathered together, they've started to fight back, they've used the Hammer of Dawn, and now we're dealing with the repercussions of using the Hammer of Dawn. So yeah, I think it looks like a really good story. It looks like they've got interesting characters again, because they're now playing a Gears game that is totally taken away from the Phoenix family and that cast of characters. So it'll be interesting to see. And they'll also have opportunity to pull and bring past characters back that we might not longer have in the series, which is an interesting premise.
Ash, do you like these types of games?
Yeah, I like these kind of games. Obviously XCOM I'm a big fan of. So I was like, yeah, Gears, XCOM. I mean, that would be enough to bring me into that franchise. But yeah, it looks good. It doesn't look like it's going to be like XCOM where it's got like permadeath and you've got customizable people. There seem to be certain characters that are definitely going to be.
I'd say that wouldn't be the case in the main story, but maybe it'll have maybe
side missions, or maybe you've got like 1 or 2 characters that you need to keep alive the entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah. But 40-hour campaign, I'm like, well, that's a long time.
Do you believe him?
But
is that like?
That's probably like a 40-hour campaign where you do like all the side missions and you do optional stuff. Like that'll be fluffed, as they say in the industry.
Yeah,
potentially.
Always like half the number usually.
Yeah.
and start from there, unless it's like really small to start with. Next thing they showed was Naraka Blade Point, which is a
freaking hell. So weird to put this like a couple of minutes after Ghost of Tsushima. I
use this as a toilet break. Not gonna lie.
I was using the actual ads as toilet breaks. What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. I don't know. It started and I was like this.
This is.
He wants to know about that Omen stuff.
That Omen. I liked some of the Omen stories. I was like, I liked they had like the kind words one.
He needs to know about that Samsung HD TV.
Oh my God.
I do. I need to know how to stop vaping, man.
I thought this was kind of interesting just from like a developer standpoint because it's a Chinese developed game, which I've only really began paying more attention to Chinese developed stuff like as I've been paying more attention to these PlayStation things they've been doing.
Where is Fist?
Yeah, like
why isn't that trailer shown during
like if you listen to Platinum Explosion, I've like discovered this game called Fist at the start of the year, which has become one of my most like every time I see it, I'm like, there it is, there's the game of the year, Fist, let's come on, boy. But yeah, so this is to see a Chinese developed game on the Game Awards stage, well not stage, but you know, the show, I thought it was quite interesting just from that point, like it's outside the norm. It's also supposed to be so like on the website it says Naraka Blade Point offers close combat action set in the mysterious eastern realms of Moros. The game features a boundless movement system that allows players to climb, hang, and even parkour with an aim at whatever you want, grappling hook, and sophisticated yet beginner friendly combat system involving accessible block and parry mechanics. Naraka Blade Point is designed to provide a brand new experience to melee combat and world exploration, integrating Eastern aesthetic and philosophy. Naraka Blade Point presents a forsaken island to splendid landscapes as well as inexplicable enigmas. So yeah, it seems to be like you wander around. It's like a multiplayer type, super multiplayer action game is what they call it. It's coming out. It doesn't actually have a proper release date next year at some point though. So 2020. Basically, everything in this fucking thing was 2020. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed, but yeah, just from the Chinese developer standpoint, I thought it was interesting. Next thing they showed was 9 to 5. I have no idea what was happening in this trailer. It was very weird, but apparently it's a first-person shooter that's going to have an alpha out in 2020. What did we think of this?
It looks like Rainbow Siege Lite is what they pitched it as after when I was talking to Jeff afterwards.
They were like, "There's too many of these damn shooters are just too hectic these days." I'm like, Rainbow Six is like one of the most popular things at the moment. It's like it's not hectic at all. Like Counter-Strike isn't really hectic either. Like I don't know.
It reminded me of the VR game that came out.
The one I liked? Firewall?
Yeah, the one you and Nick liked. I was like, oh, is this
Firewall
like,
Zero?
Yeah, I was like, is this like another version of that?
But that's just that was basically just Rainbow Six in VR, so
yeah, true.
Yeah. But this had a clip of rabbits with guns, you know.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't understand any of that.
I think it was just to make the trailer more interesting or eye-catchy.
That was weird.
As soon as it came up, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be one of those things where they like play this and then they're gonna zoom out of it, and it's gonna be like, oh, it's not really the game we're advertising."
No, I'm disappointed because I want a game with a battle royale with rabbits.
I thought it was Fortnite with rabbits at first because the fucking rabbit was doing the L dance. Fuck off. Yeah, whatever. I don't really know what to say about that thing. Next thing that was Green Day came out. They played a whole concert. They played a couple songs. It was the thing that happened. But that was followed up by announcing that there's Green Day Beat Saber DLC available now.
Can I say I got punked during this and I was pissed? I was really quite annoyed because Jeff Keighley before they went off, but you'll find out that they have their very own game announcement coming out.
You thought they were announcing Rock Band?
No, watching the game. Didn't realise behind them during some of the
Tony
verses,
Hawk and shit.
There was some retro games. And at one point, I didn't realise it was all the retro games. I saw a skateboard do a trick past them and I was like, this is it. This is my point. This is my fucking prediction. I'm fucking in here. And I'm like, I saw Crash pop up after. I'm like, oh, they're just showing retro
They're going to
games.
do trash.
They're going to put trash?
They're going to do Crash. Crash Worlds.
Crash Worlds.
Everybody wins.
So I'll also like to say, just as a Jeff Keighley, you're never going to listen to this or whoever from the Game Awards, your audio mixing was kind of shit for this concert, and it was a letdown for me. It was just like, yeah, no, they weren't good.
I'm not a Green Day fan, so I don't know how I can judge because I was just like, whatever, I don't care. Like, I don't like Green Day's music.
It was just Billy's vocals were very, very quiet. I was like, man, just raise him up a little, crank him up a little.
Yeah. Ash, did you like it? You a Green Day fan?
I had to skim through it to get it, fit everything in. But time crunch. I just hope that one of the blades is going to be green in the game when you play Green Day songs.
I'll find out.
It looked like it was. It kind of. There wasn't any red or blue when in like the background shots that they had. So
there's like a couple Green Day songs I like. So like I could enjoy the DLC if they've got a couple of the classics on there, I guess. But I don't know.
Time of your life.
Another turning point, a block.
Yeah, oh my god. Yes, that was the thing that happened. That was. I mean, actually, I'll come back to this at the fucking end of it. Next thing they announced was New World 2020 White Slave MMO being put out by Amazon Studios.
Finally releasing a game.
Amazon Studios is finally releasing a game. So yeah,
after firing everybody.
As Engadget wrote it, this is a weird trailer to watch, I think, for most people. The Engadget and most other people I've seen write about it. It's like, New World is Amazon's first MMO. It's been in development for more than 3 years. It features a classless progression system, crafting the ability to team up or play solo, and battles up to 100 players and paranormal NPCs at the same time. Of course, a game about people violently sieging a foreign land in 1600s has raised eyebrows. I was like, yeah. Its core idea seems to be based on real-life European imperialism with undead creatures as stand-ins for indigenous people. In response to this perspective, Amazon's Game Studios head Patrick Gilmore told Polygon in February, quote, "That's not really been a focus at all. The lore of the game is that there's a tainted aspect to the world, to this world, that it's a Garden of Eden that has fallen from grace. In game, the undead are former settlers who've been corrupted by the island." So... I thought this was a very weird
trailer.
They're
not invading something, all the settlers, all the people who are there are all previous invaders.
I mean, like if you make any game about colonialism, as long as you make the indigenous people ghosts or zombies or something, zombies.
They're not indigenous people.
They're not indigenous. They're ghosts.
They're the people that killed the indigenous people. So you're avenging the indigenous people. Really, you're the good guys in this situation.
I mean, let's be honest. Hasn't colonialism worked out for everybody?
I mean, I don't know if you could say something worse that could be taken out of context and played back to you at your fucking funeral, but that could be it. Yeah, no, I obviously didn't like the look of this. I thought it looked really weird. Straight away, I was like, this isn't going to go well. And then as soon as the trailer finished, I opened up Twitter and I refresh, and I straight away see a couple of people I follow who are like, well, that looks shit. I was like, this wasn't going to go well. Straight away, there was a couple of. I also found it interesting. Imran Khan tweeted that he'd played this game like a year ago, apparently, and he said it was nothing like this at the time. And now he's like, "What the fuck? What happened to this game?" So yeah, that was.
They hired new people. That's what happened.
Yeah, they hired white people by the sounds of it. Next thing they had was another League of Legends thing, Convergence, but it's got like a. It's like conv/vergence because thing. League of Legends story again, single player platformer this time though. Convergence, a League of Legends story.
Time travel element, no, time manipulation elements.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know. Once again, the trailer was nothing. It was weird. It apparently stars Echo.
It was
stars Echo. Echo, however you say the character's name. For me,
it was weird that this is what League. Like what Riot decided was ready enough for this. Like, I was even expecting something a little bit more from their shooter, but I guess that's
they said when they announced all these projects, which is the other weird thing I'd like to add in. They announced all of these projects like a month and a half, 2 months ago, right? And now they're showing all these weird trailers for them. When they announced them at League Day or whatever, they said that the first-person shooter was the least furthest along. So I did not expect to see that, but at the same time. I didn't expect to see any of them because they only announced them 2 months ago.
I mean, these are smaller games. I don't think they're going to be full price. They're going to be like 10, 12-hour experiences, I would imagine.
If that. Well, it's also weird because the dude who was up on stage for the first one, when Jeff was like, how long have you been working on this? He's like, oh, I can't say. I'm like, that's weird. League's like, yeah, we can't. Might have to take some money off you to pay our fucking
they haven't
severance.
started on it. They've still got to finish Darkseid's Genesis. So.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. So once again, I've got nothing much to say about that one because they didn't show us much, but it's a single player platformer starring Echo, or however you say his name, from League of Legends. Next trailer was for Wolf Among Us 2, which I thought was
You're super
weird.
excited for. You don't have any strong dissenting feelings about it.
There's no weird feelings about Telltale whatsoever.
Before we discuss the game, because I want to break it down, I want to get my criticism out of the way, then I can be like, okay, let's move past the hump, and then I can get towards looking forward to the game. You know, like let's tackle it that way. When we talked about on this show, Telltale coming back, I think the way we talked about it at the time, the thing I brought up, the thing that was going to annoy me was, I'm pretty sure I even said, like, what's going to happen when they announce their first game? Like, it's going to come up, it's going to tell Telltale Games, everyone will be happy, everyone will want to completely, like, gloss over and forget anything that's ever happened. And guess what happened? Literally everything I said would happen has happened in one night. So I think that's the thing that annoys me. I don't like the way they announced the game. The way they announced the game, the trailer was to build hype with the fans watching at home, which worked. Like, the internet went crazy, Twitter was great, whatever else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my Twitter was like, all right, I watched the trailer, I'm like, that was weird. I'm like, mixed emotions, I'll admit, mixed emotions. I'm like, I'm excited because Wolf Among Us is my favorite Telltale game, right? Putting that out there, Wolf Among Us, favorite Telltale game. So I watched the trailer, I'm like, my brain's like, wants to be excited, but at the same time it's being like slapped down by my other side of my brain that's like, this is weird.
It's like your beloved family pet. You love them, you were their best friend. One day you come home and your pet has had to go to the farm. But
you know there's a farm in Wolf Among Us.
Your parents have replaced it with another dog that you know is a different dog. But they're treating it like this is the same dog. And you're like, no, you're different. No, it's the same. And that's the very feel of it. It was very much like you were supposed to treat Telltale how we used to treat Telltale, even though it's not
the thing is, everybody else is treating it like Telltale.
But once again, in that same conversation when we talked about when Telltale, quote unquote, Telltale was brought back in whatever episode that was, and I said it's really weird because people treat game companies like they're things, but they never think about the people that are there. So, this is exactly what's happened because everyone online's like, Telltale back, Telltale's making a game, Telltale. I'm like, it's not though. Like, they've literally, like, it's a completely different company, and they've, like, stopped.
It's identity theft.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really quite weird.
Face off.
Basically, it's really quite weird. So, yeah, try to watch. I'm like, that was odd. I have mixed feelings about this. I open up Twitter as the ad break happens, refresh Twitter. I see a combination of people on my Twitter feed going, yeah, like screams from people who are like, yeah, Wolf, yeah, fuck you. Like, all these people are happy. And I scroll down further and I start seeing some people, I follow ex-Telltale devs. Like, I follow a few of them from back in the day when the whole thing happened. And one of them's like, fuck, that's just a tweet. Next one's like, I feel so shit right now. Next one's like, I have such mixed feelings about it. You know, it's impossible for me to be a human being and be like, I'm going to get really hyped about this while I literally have people on my Twitter feed who worked at the company, who worked on this game before it was closed down. Yeah. And for me to be like, you know what? That sucks. But guess what? Fuck you. I want to be hyped about the video game. You know, like, no, I can't have that attitude. I just can't. So it's really quite weird.
Yeah, it's weird because the game was obviously announced. It was in work. They're working on it 2017 with a set release date to be 2018, but obviously things happened and
they were quite far along apparently from what we
so I'd be curious to find out how much of this is that
old
and how much is potential, or did they just completely do a new story with I know certain ex-Telltale people are working on it. This ad hoc studio apparently.
So that's what I was going to get to that next. So I found out about this, like, when I clicked through one of the threads of the people who was like, their first tweet was like, I feel fucking terrible. I need a drink now, right? I'm not calling out particular ex-Telltale employees because I think that'd be weird. But this person was like, I need a fucking... You
can search Twitter for, I need to have a fucking drink. See what comes up.
I'm sure you'll find a million drinks on a fine Friday night with that tweet. So, and next tweet was like, they're like, okay, so I found out, you know, the people at Ad Hoc, it's like a few people that were working on the original game or original Telltale devs, and they were like, and then they put out another tweet. They're like, I still feel like fucking shit because A, I didn't know about this. They had no heads up, right? B, they're like, I was working on this for a long time, so it's like seeing my baby, come to life, and I'm nothing to do with it. I'm gonna have to sit at home and just see it come out. They're like, that's weird. But then most of these Telltale people I've followed on Twitter, and I don't want to speak for them, but from what I've seen them saying, they're like, I feel shit, but at the same time, I'm happy to see that people I used to work with are working on it, and like it's not just like a whole bunch of people pretending to be us. I think that ad hoc studio, that's where the next Telltale devs are. The whole Telltale part of it's still just like really weird and nonsense. I don't really understand all that because it's like ad hoc studio.
It seems like they're working more as the THQ Nordic publisher.
Yeah,
it seems like
it's like that, but it's at this stage. It's like the Telltale name
at this stage because it's so fresh as well.
The Telltale name is there as a publisher, in my opinion, to literally draw people in and be like, like Telltale, this is the same people, it's the same game, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, ad hoc studios working on this now. It's a completely different team. It's made up of some ex-Telltale devs, but it's a completely different fucking team. Why are we like Telltale games? It's not Telltale. I don't know. It's really quite odd. Yeah, I've mixed feelings about it. I want my mixed feelings now and be like, this is kind of weird. So then by the time it comes out, I can just be like, all right, I'm willing to enjoy this now, and I'll play it, But it was like, it was weird when it first gets announced, and I can definitely understand how, like, if I'd worked on this and for years, and then I got fired and just let go, not even fired, my whole company crumbles. The thing I've been working on for years is just disappears, something I was really passionate about, and then I'm sitting at home watching the Game Awards, and next second it's on my TV screen. I would feel like shit too, So, I mean, there's no ifs and buts about it. I would feel like shit if that was me. So I think they are well deserved to feel like shit. And from as I said, what I've understand, most of them like, I feel like shit. I'm happy that at least some people are working on it. I'm like, I don't feel like we should be like pitchforks about this. They're just like, I feel shit. I'm like, I understand. You feel shit. I get it. Like, I think it's a very weird scenario that we're going through with this Telltale thing. I think my fix for this, and what I much would have preferred though, is if they announced it a lot. It would have made I would have preferred if they made the trailer with that in mind, and by like, instead of just starting with a teaser trailer and then like, because the trailer was made to like pull back with the voiceover and they'd be like, it's Big B, it's it. Like, it was very made for the fans. Yeah. I would have actually preferred just a trailer with the devs talking and be like, hey, this is who we are. This is what's happening. Like, we're really sorry about what happened. Like, I would have preferred like a dev video just to start it off. They wouldn't have had as much like hype reel about it, but I feel like it would have played a lot better to everyone.
I think there is a very small minority that.
100%. It's like fucking 1%. Everyone on the internet's hyped, but I'm in that 1%, so I'm going to fucking talk about it because there's going to be a million gaming podcasts who are just going to be like, I'm fucking hyped. I mean, good eye. Like, if I'm in the 1%, we're going to talk about the 1%. That's how it works. What are you shaking your head about?
I mean, are you part of the 1%?
I'm talking about the 1% of
the 1%,
the figurative 1% of Wolf Among Us fans.
If you're part of the 1%, you talk about the 1%. Is what you're saying.
Colonialism. Oh, what a show! Next thing that they showed was the last thing before announcing Game of the Year, of course, which was Fast and Furious Crossroads, an Xbox 360 game that is coming to current gen consoles. For some reason. Now, I'm a massive Fast and Furious fan, so like, Michelle Rodriguez works on stage. I'm like, hey, girl.
What up?
What up, girl? Like, you showing Fast and Furious trailer, movie trailer? I'm down for that. That's what I thought was happening at first. I legit thought
Fast and Furious 9.
I thought I was getting a movie trailer at first. I was like, fuck yes, movie trailer. And she starts talking. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. She's like, I'm going to announce, I'm going to bring out Vin Diesel.
Is it going to be a tie into that new Fast and Furious Netflix series?
Yeah. Oh my God, I watched the trailer for that the other day. That looked terrible. It's a kid's one. It's nonsense. She's like, I'm bringing out my homeboy Vin Diesel, one of my best friends. I'm like, this is going to be great because, I follow Vin Diesel on Instagram. Character, absolute character. I feel like for a lot of people, this is the first time they were seeing him like not acting.
Not in a movie, just him.
And I mean,
himself.
that is him from what I gather. Like,
I mean, in a year of people yelling stuff onto the stage, that bit ranked
in my mind.
Not quite your breathtaking, but
yeah. But the thing is, for Vin Diesel, how I've always thought about him, especially since I found out like years and years and years ago about how because he started trying to like get into video games like back in the 360 days with like the Riddick games and all these sorts of things. Like he's always been trying to get into the video game industry. He's like an admitted nerd with D&D shit and whatever else. He is honestly like he gets up on stage. I'm like, you are just a buff fucking nerdy. Like in another world, you are just a fucking geeky dude, but you're just up there and everyone's like bald head buff dude who's known for playing the tough guy. But I'm like, you're not. In real life, you're a fucking nerd, and everyone can see it now. Like, up there, like, hey, everyone, like, oh my goodness, and stuff. I enjoyed their banter, I guess. Like, I was like, I'm not sure if it worked for everyone, but I was like,
Tekken. I was like, cringe.
Tekken.
We play those fighting games. Tekken. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, they try. There's some oldies trying.
But Fast and Furious Crossroads.
Yeah.
Oh, this was fucking this. I get it. You wanted them to present your Game of the Year award. I get
How much did Universal pay? Is the big question. That's the big question.
Yeah, how much money does Universal pay? But far out did this game look like garbage. Like hot, fresh garbage, just flaming, on fire, with Vin Diesel's face slapped on the front of it. It's bad. Dylan legit, when we got into the call today before recording the podcast, he's like, yeah, you probably could have just bought the original version back in 10 years ago. And I was like, oh, this was an old game? Oh, okay, I didn't realize.
That's Googling.
That makes sense.
I start Googling. He's like, no, it looks like this is a new game. Dylan's like, I know that's the joke. I'm like, oh.
By the way, I think I want to chuck out quickly is they're like, Michelle on stage was like, man, like this newspaper report 18 years ago, movie, now video game. I was like, you weren't in it, but they did make a Fast and Furious video game like 5+ years ago.
Yeah.
And that was shit. But you weren't in it, so that's why you don't remember it. You know?
I mean, it could be cool.
But okay, gamer.
It could be fun, potentially. It just doesn't look very good.
It could be. It looked even more stupid than so the Fast and Furious movies have gone to a level of just fucking obnoxious ridiculousness. I just watched Hobbs and Shaw.
I didn't like it very much. I didn't like it. It went for too long. I was like, why is this a 2 hour and 30-minute movie? What the fuck? But it's like 2 hours and 19. Maybe. No wonder I didn't love it.
Yeah, and I was like, this is really fucking long. But still, even the car that they the tank thing they were chasing with the turret on it, and then they were ramming their cars into it. I'm like, how does that even make sense? Like, how is that even a thing? Why?
Let me boil this down for you real quick. Let me boil it down to facts. Here's the facts. This game looks bad. We can all agree. I feel like no one out there can argue that this game looks bad. Here's fact number 2. If I can get a review code for this shit, I'm playing it. I'm not paying $80, $90. Fuck no. But you better believe this.
At what price are you buying this?
Would I buy this? Like $30, $40 pushing it.
Whoa, that's impressive. Okay.
Well, how much do you think this is worth? Like,
it might come out
like $20? Like $20?
No.
Realistically, like $20, $25.
Nothing sells for $20 these days. Come on. I feel like I'm being realistic around $30.
I could go get a copy of Anthem for $4.
Yeah, now I'm talking release day, not
day one release.
Yeah, I'm talking day one release. I feel like $30, $40.
I think $30-$40 is a realistic price.
Realistic price.
That they're probably
it's realistic, but what I paid for it is
look.
$20. So
let me point this out. Jumanji, the game, came out for like $60, $70 last week.
Oh yeah, that reminds me.
Yeah,
Jumanji in dreams. Oh.
I mean, pause. Put a pin in that because I want to come back to that after we're done with this because I've got a really funny point about that. Pin in that. but I'm saying this. I will buy this for like $40 is pushing it, but I'll buy it for $30 to play it because obviously I'm a big Fast and Furious fan, and I'll play it for the memes.
40.
It's probably gonna be like that $60-$70 like Jumanji though. But I will try and get a review code. If I can't get one, I'll be like, for fuck's sake, how can we get codes for Death Stranding and shit? You can't get me Fast and Furious. Who are we?
I want to know how that wrecking ball section works.
I mean, you press A
What's
to
the
go.
logic behind that?
I don't know. It's from one of the movies.
Like
so
in the world, like why is there all these wrecking balls?
There's no logic. It's a segment from the movie they've put into the game. That's like literally the logic.
The thing for me was, you know what, when it first started, I was like, man, if this is just based on the era that the first, the second movies is around, awesome. I'd really enjoy that. That'd be kind of cool. No. And then it started getting into the current gen wacky Fast and Furious shit, and I was like,
here's my second question. Was that actually Tyrese Gibson doing the voice?
Yes. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it actually him?
Too.
I don't think it was him. I
don't think
I was
so
like, is he a bad voice actor? Like playing the... Like,
I think, well, they probably couldn't get Tyrese to come in.
I doubt it, because
with everybody.
He's fucking fighting everyone in this game in this movie franchise, so... You're like, I ain't doing this shit unless you pay me $10 million. And everyone's like, yeah, ain't worth that. Like, get the fuck out of here.
We'll get
Ludacris to do two voices. It's fine.
You know what? This game is what made me be like, you know what? This Game Awards kind of wasn't my favorite because like this game itself was like, you know, last game of the year, the last game to be announced before Game of the Year. We've got one more announcement for you. Fast and Furious Crossroads. And I'm like, what? Hello?
Even I, as a big Fast and Furious fan, was like, this looks terrible. And also, it was going for so long that I'm like, wait, this is it. Like, this is the last announcement.
This is really the last thing.
And I was like, maybe they'll do something after Game of the Year. But then my brain was like, but they never do something after Game of the Year.
They never. It's just, Jeff just wraps up. I even said to Dylan, I was waiting for this to be a meme. I was waiting for like some studio.
Waiting for an envelope to drop into
hands. Just like something. Just for somebody has been like, we have paid Michelle Rodriguez to come do this. We have paid to make a fake looking Fast and Furious trailer because it's that bad looking. So I thought it was fake. And I was waiting for halfway through the trailer, some character from some fucking awesome game was going to like break the screen or something. It'd be like, you don't want that shit? Come check this out. And then we get a real trailer. Did not fucking happen. And I was so disappointed.
No, but now we can get Dominic Toretto for Smash. See.
They would have spent, I'm like, Universal would have spent like $1 billion on this, obviously.
Jeff Keighley is wiping his face with like $50 bills tonight after he's eaten a steak. Like, I mean, him and Hideo have rode off into the sunset laughing.
Yeah. I'll unpin the other point now. So Jumanji. Jumanji, the video game, came out this week, or late last week, whenever it was. Either way, in the last like weekish. And instead of promoting that, the funniest thing to me is instead of promoting the official Jumanji video game they just put out, they've got them promoting a Dreams level they made. Figure that out. What the fuck is going on there?
Does Sony make Jumanji?
Yeah, like Sony public, like the movie studio section.
Yeah, maybe that's obviously the connection.
That's how it all connects.
They also made the video game.
Like, what the fuck? Like, you've got a video game. You're promoting Dreams. I mean, Dreams promotion's good. Like, cool. Promote Dreams. That's great. But
think about it. There's a rock model in Dreams at the moment that you can take and do whatever you want with.
I don't think they understood what the fuck they were promoting. Like, are we promoting Dreams or are we promoting that other video game? They had no idea what the fuck was going on.
I want Jablinski Games to play Dreams.
Jablinski Games plays Jumanji the game. What, the Dreams?
Well, there's going to be more time for Jablinski Games.
That's true.
The rumors are true that Jack Black's retiring after Jumanji. Like,
what?
Who knows?
What?
Did you not hear this?
What?
No, he's got to make School of Rock 2 and
spoilers. It's a storyline in his YouTube channel. It's just a storyline. He's turned his whole life into
a bit. It's just a bit.
It's just a bit.
It's Sugar Pine 7, Jablinski style.
All right, so let's get down to some brass points over here. So going back, we're going to start with the winners and losers. So in alphabetical order, here's how many points everyone got for predicting the winners of the Game Awards first. Ash got 13 points. 13 points.
Fucking hell.
Clap.
That's pretty good.
Ciaran got 9 points.
Oh, okay, I'm playing.
You still got a chance. You still got a chance. You just need to get all 5 of your predictions right.
I got 15 points. Which put Ciaran last at our board. Ash in the middle and me first.
Yep.
Now, getting into predictions, every one you get right. So for our first round, I've got 3 points. Ash has got 2 points. You've got 1 point. Now, for predictions, the way I was going to do it was everyone you got right was just straight up 1 point added to your title. So if we read for our predictions from top to bottom on the article I put up the other day, round 1 was, Ciaran's prediction was Batman trailer. There'll be a Batman trailer for the Court of Owls Batman, rumored to be called Batman Legacy. I'm gonna put an asterisk on this, so it's not just there will be a trailer. There will be a Batman Court of Owls trailer featuring Dick Grayson's Batman. There was no Batman trailer at all. There's no Batman.
What the fuck are you doing, Rocksteady? Where are you?
No, it was meant to be Warner Brothers Montreal.
There was
WB
a
Montreal.
Oh, whichever. Whoever the fuck is making that
The
game.
rumor was as well that it was Craig, who was it? Roger Craig Dean or whatever, reprising Batman.
Smith.
Yeah, that's the one. He was there at the Game Awards. He's posted on Twitter that he was there.
Fucking pricks. You fucking bunch of pricks.
We did get a trailer for Harley Quinn, though. So the movie, not the game.
Yeah.
And
Joker coming to Mortal Kombat.
Joker's coming to Mortal Kombat, yeah.
But no Batman.
So all of that added up is a
That's
point.
0 points.
It's nothing.
Thanks, guys.
Ash's one was Crash Bandicoot 64. I think we're going to see this new Crash Bandicoot game. It's going to show up at the Game Awards, the one that was rumored. It's going to be called Super Mario 64, but with Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot was disappointingly not there at all. My first prediction was Breath of the Wild 2. I'm going to go with Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever it's going to end up being called. It gets a teaser trailer of some sort, officially confirming whether it's going to be called Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever. Either way, the game they showed us gets a tease, this time confirming what the actual game is going to be called. There was no Zelda, Breath of the Wild. This fucking Nintendo was... they took Reggie away. They took fucking Nintendo's presents away from the Game Awards as well, motherfuckers. Round 2 predictions. Ciaran. Gods and Monsters. We will get a trailer for Ubisoft's Gods and Monsters. We did not get a trailer of Gods and Monsters.
Ubisoft absent.
Ubisoft.
Absence at all.
Ubisoft, where are you, Ubisoft? You know, you can just...
You're gonna be saying where are you a lot.
They're trying to make the money back after what
you could have been the
Ghost
heroes.
Recon.
You could have been the saviors of the Game Awards by turning up and being, instead of Fast and Furious Crossroads. You could have stopped us.
Oh, look. Ubisoft is actually publishing Fast and Furious Crossroads.
Fucking imagine. Ash's first prediction was Elden Ring. We're going to get a bad look at Elden Ring, the game that George R.R. Martin and the guy from Dark Souls are working on. My second prediction was Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima gets a trailer at the Game Awards. I had this down, but I was only going to chuck it in. I don't know about this category simply because Sony usually isn't very much at the Game Awards. Like, Nintendo is heavily there. Xbox is like semi there, but in order it's like Xbox, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. But then at the same time, it's like, well, they're not doing PlayStation experience this year. Ghost of Tsushima did get a trailer at the Game Awards. 1 point to myself.
After being a state of play thing as well. So
yeah, but they didn't break it. So if they showed the whole trailer there, that would have fucked me.
Yeah, you would have been furious. Yeah.
I would have been very angry. But 1 point to me. Round 3, Ciaran. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remasters. We will get remasters. We'll get announced remasters of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3. I'm going on remasters. I think we're currently in the period of remasters.
Said 1 and 2
I've seen a lot.
I already said 1 and
In the
2.
thing it sounded like you said 3. I re-listened to it. What the fuck does it matter? Shut up. I've seen a lot of stuff recently about Tony Hawk talking about the original games and different articles and interviews, and I don't know if that's something that is setting up or it's just random people are always asking about these. But yeah, I think it would be easy money right now to put these remasters out. Tony Hawk did show up, of course, at the back of the Green Day thing, but they didn't announce any remasters. Ash's next prediction was Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Switch. The Metroid Prime Trilogy comes to Switch. I always feel like that's a safe-ish prediction. Anytime there's a thing that needs to be predicted. Metroid Prime Trilogy or Metroid
Eventually
Prime
we'll be right.
Nothing was there. My third prediction was Bayonetta 3 trailer. I'll stick to the Nintendo theme. I think Bayonetta 3 trailer, no release date.
No.
We did not get a release date. In fact, we didn't get a fucking trailer.
No. Yep. No. Platinum Games is working on Babylon.
Wasn't there an announcement about?
They're working on Babylon 4.
Yeah.
So now they're not going to do Bayonetta for another 12 months. So it's been bumped again.
Horrible.
A bump for Astral Chain.
No.
Bump for Babylon's Fall.
I don't want to hear it. Round 4. Ciaran. Google Stadia is heavy. Google Stadia will heavily featured throughout the Game Awards with a lot of either, cards at the end of trailers being like available on Stadia. Google Stadia did have 2 trailers in the entire 14-hour show. I would not count that as a heavy presence, however.
Do you mean, but what about all the ads?
There were 2 ads.
There was more than 2 ads.
Only 2. Reggie Watts
ads?
Like there were
more,
2.
But there was only 2.
Two Reggie Watts
was
ads.
there already 2? I swear there was like 4 or 5.
2 Reggie Watts. He's in a canoe. Well, he's going through. They're in a store in another one. Whatever else was going on. Yeah.
You could just give me the point.
No.
That's not the point. You said heavy presence, 2 trailers, not even in the main show. Nah. Ash's next one was a new Banjo. There's been a lot of rumors that it's going to be an Xbox Studios game. There was actually, Ash, you're correct.
There was, yeah.
I'm going to say Banjo-Kazooie, new game. Wrong game. There was a new Xbox Studios game. It was Hellblade.
Who would have guessed that one, though? It's not even technically it's just barely an Xbox Studio
Not
game.
me.
Yeah.
My next prediction was new Challenger Crash. If they're going to announce that Crash Bandicoot is getting a new game here, then what else is going to come here is a new Challenger approaches. Crash Bandicoot spins his way into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The only thing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate did this whole thing weirdly. I think I'm not just the only one that's like, not only was there no Crash, there was no Smash Bros. Announcements, which I thought was weird. Full stop.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird.
Especially, obviously, last year is when they announced Joker at the Game Awards. It would have been a nice full circle moment, but I guess maybe they're saving it for First Director 2020.
Like, I kind of expected to be doing this and going like, oh, they did announce this, but it wasn't Crash. That's kind of what I expected to happen, but didn't get fucking shit. Then the last round, Ciaran's last prediction was Dragon Age 4. Okay, let's go for my hope. This is what I love to see, a trailer for Dragon Age 4. I think they'll do it. I think they have to after Anthem. Ash then followed that up with a Uno reverse card saying, Mass Effect Trilogy, I'm going to counteract Ciaran. I don't think BioWare is going to try and get goodwill with Dragon Age 4. I think they're going to get goodwill with the Mass Effect Trilogy for current consoles. That was also not announced. And then my last prediction was Outlast 3. All right, my last one then. Outlast 3 gets revealed. I read up a story for Explosion Network about this around Halloween time. Red Bells, the developer of the Outlast games, tweeted out a picture teasing a new game, and it said reveal will be coming soon. And that was at Halloween time. Day after we recorded this episode, they announced a new Outlast game. And it fucking pissed me off. Either way, the results are Ash with 0 points, Ciaran with 0 points, me with 1 point, which puts me in the lead with a total of 4 points overall. Clap me. Ash is in second with a total of 2 points. Woo! Clap him. And Ciaran is in last place with a total of 1 point. Clap.
Jeez.
You're playing Balborn.
Yeah! It's what the people want.
It's what the people want.
The people have willed it into existence.
Also, you can't take a year because the game will probably be dead.
I'm going to take a year. Fuck you guys. I'm taking another year again.
There'll be literally no one to play the game with. We've got to get in fast now with all these bonuses.
Yeah, you'll just be waiting in the lobby the entire time.
Yeah,
maybe.
That doesn't count as playing.
I don't know if that'll be a better experience than Quiet Man was, or
I think it will be.
I think so.
It will be a better experience. Was there any other things that stood out, presenter moments or anything else that anyone wanted to bring up as funny as that you either liked or thought was funny or whatever?
At the start of the show, I'm like, man, they've got some good writing. Jonathan Nolan comes out and does that first bit, and I chuckled. There was some good jokes, and then it was not as consistent through the entire show.
No,
I think someone also pointed out that the choice to do the Muppet segment,
I didn't like that.
With that particular award was a poor choice.
Mm-hmm. It was. This segment was great. The segment was amazing. And the second they're like, and here's a person to come out for an award for Impact or what,
Games for Impact.
Games for Impact. And then I was sitting on the edge of my seat, kind of being like, don't start interrupting them when they're fucking doing their speech. Because I swear to God, if those Muppet fucks had interrupted them while I was talking for a joke, I would have been like, this is not the fucking award for that. But they didn't. But either way, it felt weird. That should have been a different award.
I didn't like how like the they had their global gamers segments, but they seemed really short this year, and they seemed to cut in a really weird way where I think the first one or something cut and then it went straight into a trailer for something that was like a lot of like full on killing and stuff like that. And I was like, this is really weird. Like, this is a really weird, like...
I would have preferred them all to be done in one several minute long thing.
Yeah, or even just, you know what? The Omen HP ones were better than those ones. Like, the ones with, like, Ewok and... I can't remember. And the person who did kind words and stuff. I was like, those seemed better because they at least have... like an ending card where it was about the Omen stuff and whatever, and then that kind of cut itself off. It just seemed a bit weird. And this award show, and I think it might be just a trend for award shows because that's how award shows are going now, and that's how people consume it, are becoming less and less about the awards.
Yep.
We didn't get a single award that was based on...
They're taking them away, I swear. There's less every year.
Like none of like the content creators ones, none of like the best performance ones.
And all these used to be on stage. All of those used to be on stage.
None of those had a stage moment. So we
need to rotate them around.
But like, you know, nobody got to have a cool speech moment on stage. Like maybe they were a bit worried about
Reggie did.
having things happen, you know, like Reggie did, but Reggie's different. Like I'm talking about
presenting.
You know,
Yeah.
So it doesn't count.
He was presenting. Like nobody.
The dude from Fortnite
like
did forever, and then I saw on Twitter there was like a flashing card saying like wrap it up, and I thought his speech was like ham-fisted bullshit anyway. So to be honest,
yeah, like there was nobody that I was like, man, like there was no Greg Miller speech. There was no Nolan North speech from a couple years ago. There was even Sonic Fox's
the girl from Hellblade
the year before,
when she won best
or the girl from Hellblade,
which was an amazing moment. I loved that moment.
Which like we don't get any. What feels like, other than the devs, like a real person, like a real gaming person taking their moment to talk and use their platform.
When the Zayam team went up and they gave a shout out to Marxism and all this sort of stuff. It went very under the radar. Yeah. And then I saw Kotaku publish a story and everyone in the comments, there's like a bunch of people in the comments like, I'm not playing this game anymore. They're shouting out to socialists. Fuck me.
But when they collected their first award, that was super awkward.
That was awkward. They headed off in different directions and stuff. But yeah, the second time they went, or whatever time they went up, it was,
And the only other thing was like a lot of the trailers and stuff, it kind of felt like padding or stocking filling. Like they didn't see. I understand this year is not a great year for games because we're the year before a gaming generation changeover. So a lot of people aren't announcing their stuff yet. But I feel a lot of the stuff we got announced were these like smaller or these like kind of fringe MMO kind of projects, or your Magic the Gathering stuff, or your Warframes, and it just felt like there could have been more for actual substance.
I think on the announcement side, it was more than I expected, to be honest, because I went in going, okay, it's the Game Awards before a new generation. I expect sweet fuck all because most of the big games that have been worked on are next gen games at this stage, and they're probably not going to show any of that stuff. So when they start with Xbox and Hellblade 2, I'm like, okay, like, and I mean, that was the height of the entire show, obviously, but at the time I was like, okay, well, how I'm feeling about the show might change. Like, what's going to happen now? Like, what the fuck could happen? Everything might go topsy-turvy on my feelings here, but yeah, I mean, I think I've spoke a lot. Well, let me start with the positive thing for this thing. I've always got criticism for the Game Awards every year. I've always got something, I'm like, this could have changed, this could have whatever. But I think I always come down to the fact that I'm like, I appreciate Jeff Keighley's effort, and I understand that he has to take like the money for. I think a lot of people don't understand that like the dude is not a rich millionaire, and this show is not put on by some big conglomerate of companies or anything like that. The dude literally
goes. It's not like the Oscars or whatever, where someone else is footing the bill.
Yeah, no one's footing the bill here. He literally goes to people, he gets sponsorships, and that's where the money comes from. And that's why you have to put up with a bunch of ads and the whole like fresh indie presented by Subway. Lots of this kind of corny stuff, but I don't really care because I understand. Like, I'm like, that's where the money for the show comes from. That's how this show works. Jeff Keighley is a dude who's been like for years made fun of because of the Doritos Mountain Dew thing. Like, he's always been someone who's like, I know deep down he's like, this is silly, but he's just like, I have to do what I have to do to get like my money for my shows and whatever. So I always like to start with that because I think the show, although I have some problems, I appreciate it every year for being as the biggest thing we have, you know, as close to a big game award show. But with that said, I do have a big problem this year with the stuff Ciaran was pointing out with the, it seems like a drastic cut in the amount of awards that were being presented on stage and having people come up. I don't like that at all. I'm not a big fan of that at all. Of course, I've been very vocal on different shows and whatever things, talking about year after year how I would actually prefer the show to be a lot more serious, less trailers, more speeches. That's what I want. Less trailers, more speeches, because I want people up there given their moment, given their time. Understand everyone likes the trailers. I'm trying to find an even ground here, but I'm like, well, can we cut the fucking Green Day thing and get another award up? You know, like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I would rather sit there for an extra half an hour with some more ads.
Especially Green Day got 2 songs.
Yeah, I'm like it's weird.
It's just like, fuck, guys. Like, couldn't you have done this in one? I don't even, like, their second song must have been new because I've not heard it. So
yeah, I think it was.
I was very,
you would think if they were advertising Beat Saber, they would have done like a medley or something.
Yeah,
like
something that makes a bit more sense.
Or something, yeah.
But I mean, like, overall, I would say my feelings overall were, I enjoyed, like, I'd probably say, you know, like 70% of it. I would say if I was checking out a percentage, I probably enjoyed 70%. The most of the time I was watching it, I was like, this is great. The number one thing I get, as much as I'm like, oh, that was corny, that was a weird trailer, this is kind of annoying how these things go away. But at the end of the day, it's an award show I can sit down and I'm like, video games are great, hey, you know, especially like it starts with like the hype montage and stuff, and you're like, video games are cool, and then it's like a constant up down of like, but either way, at the end of the day, I'm like, I enjoy the overall feeling of just being like, I like video games, and this event makes me be like, video games are fun. How'd you feel about it though, Ash?
Yeah, I like. Obviously, it's not the strongest show that he's done, but I mean, it's still a solid. It's fun. There was some good gags.
Do you guys think the show would have benefited? Because for me, my two kind of the higher points of the show were Xbox reveal and Ghost of Tsushima. If those two were even just swapped around, I probably would have felt
probably better because it would have been balanced with a you like start diving down a little bit, and then there's like a big hype moment to lift you back up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, instead of just this whole show feeling like we got the big up moment at the start with Xbox, and then everything else is kind of down from there.
Also, because that was a surprise as well.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
genuine surprise.
Like, even
like no leaks.
Even Jeff's introduction to it was, you know, you could tell he was
happy,
grateful that had happened.
Because he introduced it happening. Like, oh, you know, lots of leaks, lots of stuff, but
which is, you know, you don't want. Maybe Jeff was like,
didn't want to risk it not. You didn't want to risk another hour of it not being leaked.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe he was like, we just want to get out of the way. Fuck what we're, you know, screw. But it just made the show not as enjoyable because I kept thinking about how great the Xbox segment was whenever anything else was coming up.
Yeah. But
as to the speeches thing, I think maybe they do something afterwards, like backstage, or you know how at the Oscars, Emmys, they have like press boxes and that kind of thing. That might be something. But at least you can go back and you can hear what they have to say or something. But
no, but it's just like it's hard not to notice when we are looking at previous years and being like, look at all these awards that were accepted on stage, and now they're just throwaway things. Like this year stood out to me as the year where it really felt heavily weighted as more a trailer show than an award show.
Definitely.
And I feel like it should be at least even. Like in my perfect world, it would be weighted towards the awards with the trailers as the lower percentage. I'm willing to give in and be like, it should feel at least even. This year, it felt heavily weighted as a trailer show and not an award show.
Even some of the awards that seem to be about people, like the Content Creator of the Year award or the esports gamer. Esports got one actually, but
Yeah.
it didn't make me feel like those people had all gathered here because this was an important award.
Well,
it was just, let's just kind of kick it off to the side. It's like
that might be an element of it as well. Like, we're going to present the award for best performance. Oh, Mads Mikkelsen isn't here. We're just going to.
I don't think it should matter. I don't think it should matter because in the Oscars, Emmys, whatever, they wouldn't do that. They would be like, they're there, they're not there, they're there. Someone else will accept it.
Even if Hideo or Norman Reedus came up and accepted it on his behalf, like completely fine. Like they get to talk a moment. Even if if honestly, would it be that bad if Jeff Keighley just said to his his boy Hideo Kojima, "Hey man, Mads Mikkelsen's going to get an award. If he's not attending, can
integrity. You can't leak any secrets to Hideo Kojima.
No, but how they do it in other award show where they have a video of that person accepting the award, being like, "Thanks." Like, can we? If they're not going to attend, can we get a video just to say thank you or whatever? Sure, that's like we might not give it to them. We might, it's just for a maybe. But can we do that? I don't know. Just take some of the humanity out of the video game awards that I think a lot of people have come to grow to love.
Yeah. Any other last Game Awards thoughts? Moments before we close the book on it for another year.
Well, it's not, the book's not closed until I play.
That's true. So the book will stay open for a long time yet.
Yeah, to play Overwatch version 1.
Keep your eyes peeled on twitch.tv/Explosion Network for Ciaran's stream of Battleborn. And possibly
I'll tweet it out.
Possibly some other things.
Pod.
The other night he's like, Dylan, I'm going to stream Jedi Fallen Order. It never happens.
Never happened. I passed out. But no, just the Battleborn stream will happen before the end of the year. I will say that publicly right now before the end of the year. Battleborn will be streamed.
The clock ticking. On that one.
There is.
Yeah. At your boy Ringo.
Yeah.
No, just follow at Explosion Pod
with reminders. Just tweet at him Battleborn gifts, please.
Don't you dare. No. Stop. I will borrow.
Just one a day.
I will. Nick, if you want to send me those gifts, please send them to don't@explosionnetwork.com. Everybody else uses that email address, so we may as well just.
Oh dear! All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of Explosion Pod, whatever it's called. Okay, Couch. You can make sure to check out explosionnetwork.com for all our other shows, reviews, articles, news, much more things. You can review Arcade Couch on Apple Podcasts, of course, or Podchaser. All the places are great. Podchaser, you can view each episode separately. There you go. You can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at Explosion Pod. You can join our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ash on Twitter at AshleyHobby, ASHLEYHOBLEY. You can follow Ciaran on Twitter at Boy Ringo. There's the address again. And we will see you here, same time, same couch, next week. Boy.